Don't sniffle. 3, 2. Bro, what?
I thought you said 3, 2, 1. Sorry.
How's it going? Wait, what are you guys doing? We're chilling.
Doing good.
Doing good?
Yeah.
That's great.
It's a good
Welcome
start.
to the show, everybody. So Billionaire's resigned from the board. He was the chairman of the Hyatt Hotels, and he's the cousin of J.B. Pritzker. Because of his Epstein ties, the emails came out and revealed, And now we're starting to see the blowback. More emails are getting released, and there are a lot of questions. Plus, there's an alleged list of names. But the Trump administration has released the Epstein name list, and a bunch of people on the right have blasted these out saying, here we go, we got the list of names. And it's not a list of anything. It doesn't accuse anybody of anything. Some of these names that are mentioned are in it because it's like, I went to a party at this person's house, and it's completely unrelated to anything related to Epstein. But we are seeing people now start to deal with the blowback. And I will say this. The Epstein files are revealing that I would argue that for the most part, it was all true. And when these prominent elites, when people in the FBI, for instance, people that we know, were saying, no, there's nothing to see here, there indeed is something to see here. And I got to tell you, when Pam Bondi went to that hearing and was like, but the Dow is at 50,000, I was like, that's great. We're allowed to care about two things at once. Right now, we're talking about the children who are being trafficked to an island and not the economy, which is good. And you at the DOJ have nothing to do with that. So can we now talk about the criminals who are not being held accountable? When I look at this story, I see a guy, he's like 75 years old. What does he really care? Right. But he's part of this massively wealthy family, which includes he's the cousin of Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. So very weird, very weird stuff. And we're talking about that. Plus the Jerky conspiracy theory, where in these emails, Epstein's talking about jerky and people are claiming that he's eating people jerky. So we'll talk about that. And then probably my favorite slow news day front page story came from Newsweek, where for seemingly no reason, or probably because there's no news, they decided to run a story that Trump was going to announce aliens are real. I wonder if this has something to do with the fact that Obama jumped the gun and said aliens are real. There's been this rumor now for the past couple of weeks that Trump is going to hold some kind of press conference or a State of the Union address where he says, we have proof that aliens exist or something like that. And Obama then comes out on this liberal podcast and he goes, yeah, they're real. And maybe he just didn't want Trump to steal his thunder. But of course, Obama is now walking this back. So we'll talk about that. Plus, we have a bunch of other stories. AOC is getting roasted because she said Venezuela is below the equator, which it isn't. And I wonder if this whole thing that she was doing was an attempt to kind of like show that she had foreign policy chops because she wants to run for president. But she has only indeed shown that she has no idea what she's talking about. So we're going to get into all of that and more, my friends. Before we get started, we got a great sponsor for you. It is Field of Greens from Brickhouse Nutrition. Check it out, my friends. Check it out. Most people don't look forward to their annual physical because they're nervous what their doctor might find. That's why what you do before the appointment matters. So before your next checkup, make the one health change that your doctors should notice or your money back. Make it Field of Greens. Doctors today look beyond your calendar age. They're looking at biological age, how healthy your cells and vital organs are. Field of Greens was designed with that in mind. Each fruit and vegetable is doctor selected to support your cells, heart, lungs, kidneys, and healthy weight. In fact, a university study found that participants who only added Field of Greens saw measurable improvements in key health markers. Just one change changed everything. That's why Field of Greens promises your doctor will notice your improved health or your money back. Get into your next physical confident. One scoop, once a day, done. Make Field of Greens your one smart change this year. Check out the university study and get 20% off at fieldofgreens.com. Promo code TIM. That's fieldofgreens.com, promo code TIM. And legit, this is my favorite, strawberry lemonade. It's legit, really, really good. I drink it before I skate, so definitely check it out. Thanks for sponsoring the show, guys. And don't forget, go to castbrew.com and get Dr. Alex Stein's Big Booty Latina Love Potion. Alex Stein is not a doctor. It is guaranteed to spice things up in the bedroom. It is not guaranteed to spice things up in the bedroom. Alex Stein, this is a tremendous product. Tell me about it.
Well, first we have to talk about how I'm brutally beanie mogging you right now. And why is your beanie communist? Why don't you have an American-themed beanie?
I thought we were talking about your delicious new product.
My coffee's good.
For which
that's what separates my coffee from Tim's coffee. My coffee is a true patriot. It's a patriotic coffee. Even though we want amnesty for big booty Latinas, we feel like
no, we don't.
We have a hegemony. of big booty Latinas and true patriots. So I think that's the best combination. And this coffee will help you find that big booty Latina that you desire.
And the big booty Latina inside of you.
It'll turn you, well, I don't want to say that it turns you trans because then that might, turn off buyers, but it'll just bring out the big booty Latina in everyone, is what I'll say.
My friends, don't forget to smash that like button. Share the show with every single person you've ever met, even your lost neighbor you haven't seen in a long time. You don't know where he went, but he used to be there. Now he's gone. Find him and tell him to watch the show. And, of course, you've noticed already Alex Stein's here.
And you don't want to talk about how you've just been brutally beanie mogged?
Beanie mogged.
Beanie mogged. Yes, you know what that. Don't see. This is what pisses me off, Tim. You act like you don't know what that means. You're gesture maxing, and I'm not okay with it. Okay, because my cortisol's spiking. I'm not trying to do that. So just admit that you got defeated. I have a more patriotic beanie. Yours is kind of more CCP style.
Oh,
I mean, you're telling me that do you think your beanie's better than my beanie?
yes.
Why would you say that? Okay, let's.
If your beanie's so much better, how come you don't wear it all the time?
Well, because it kind of hurts my head. I have a triple XL head, so I didn't fit in it very well. But my point is, look at the pizzazz. Look at the patriotism mine shows.
You're what are you? You're hosting a new show or something?
After Hours with Alex Stein and Real America's Voice. It's incredible. So they got a great DC studio. I filmed my show there. It airs tonight, right after this show. And
But you're based in DC now?
No, but I was just using their studio because I came on your show. Actually, they built me a studio in Dallas. They do it all remote. It's really great. I love Parker and Robert Sig. They own the company. Parker's Robert's son, and he's like, it's a real family-owned business.
That's great. Great to hear.
It's good.
Well,
a lot of people work there.
Always glad to have a serious intellect to come on the show. We're always looking forward to your keen insights and serious.
How they're eating babies and how they're eating children. And you laughed at me. You laughed at my jerky sleuthing that I found through Asmongold, who has millions of views. But it doesn't matter. They are literally eating the flesh of humans. And I don't think it's a joke. And so I was right about Pizzagate. I mean, they're all doing child sex trafficking. They called us crazy in 2016. I called into Howard Stern's show. He's like, "Oh, you're wrong. You're wrong." Boom. I was.
Did he apologize to you?
No, he should. He owes me an apology. You can look that clip up anywhere. But
did he quit or is he still around?
He's still around, but he only does.
This has got to stop.
2 days a week, and he's supposed.
Well, anyway,
75, isn't he?
Elaad is here.
Good evening, everybody. I am Elaad Eliyahu, the White House correspondent here at Timcast. Alex, good luck in your new ventures. What was the name of the new media company?
Real America's Voice. They're not that new. Charlie has a show there.
Okay, Real America News.
I mean, people sometimes think of One American News Network because they both have America in it, but no, they've been out for a while. They're crushing it.
Isn't Brian Glenn over there too?
Brian's over there.
Yeah, Brian Glenn's
hosts a
OG.
morning show. Brian's a man.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
He's wonderful. Anyway, Phil.
Hello, everybody. My name is Phil Labonte. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains on Anti-Communist and Counter-Revolutionary. We can go ahead and talk about Alex Stein's too.
Please.
Well, actually, we've got Carter pressing the buttons.
Oh, yeah.
Look at Carter.
What's up, everyone? Carter Banks here, and I'm hanging out and producing the show. Excited to be here.
All right, let's talk about news because, hey, man, it's about time. From CNBC, Hyatt chairman Pritzker leaves board over Epstein ties. Big news from CNBC. They say Pritzker will leave his post as the hotel chain's executive chairman, a role he's held for more than 2 decades. Immediately, he said in a statement released by the Pritzker organization, the 75-year-old billionaire Hyatt heir said he would not seek re-election to the board at the annual stockholder meeting. My job and responsibilities provide good stewardship. That is something to me. Good stewardship includes ensuring a proper transition at Hyatt. Pritzker said he has regret over his connection to Epstein and his accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell. So we know about what Epstein did, the claims. We also know that the media covered it all up, lied about it, suppressed the story, pretended like it wasn't happening, and called us all crazy for suggesting that it was true. Recently released files show Pritzker and Epstein exchanged friendly emails after the disgraced financier's plea deal. Being part of the release of thousands of documents and photos does not imply any wrongdoing. Thanks for pointing that out, CNBC. Why did you need to say that? See, here's the truth. These powerful individuals were flying around on a plane with underage girls who were supposedly masseuses, but they were actually doing other things. And we've got numerous victims who, and it's funny because there are a lot of Trump supporters that have come out being like, this woman claimed that she never did anything untoward, but now she's claiming she did. And I'm like, yes, is it possible that in 2015, these women didn't want to admit that they were child prostitutes? And now that Epstein's been uncovered and exposed, they're saying, actually, those claims are all true, and I'm now going to admit it. So I think it's fair to say, certainly, call into question some of the statements. Maybe there's some women trying to cash in on being a victim or whatever. But just read the emails. And look at the conviction. He took a sweetheart plea deal because Epstein was bringing on underage girls to his plane and to his island as masseuses, and they were hookers. Basically, they were child prostitutes being brought in. So I love how every step of the way, the media has tried to protect these individuals. And I'm not going to cut Trump any slack because Trump was like, oh, it's a hoax. It's a hoax. Now we're reading these emails and we're going like, oh, my. There's videos. Alex, did you notice there are videos of children bathing that Epstein in the Epstein files?
Yep.
And they said they were like, well, it's uncorroborated. Yeah, it's really weird that Epstein had children come to his island and there's videos of underage kids. They censored the videos, mind you, but there is a lot of, I would describe it as massive piles upon piles of circumstantial evidence, which makes me wonder what hard evidence they're retracting. There was one email that I showed on Twitter where Epstein emailed somebody, we don't know who because they redacted it, and he simply said the word pizza. And I'm sorry, I just have questions about why they redacted the email of a person simply because he said pizza to him. Now, listen, I'm not going to sit here and say I know exactly the intent of that email. I don't. But when you redact the recipient's email, then people start saying, why?
Yep.
What about that? Now, I will stress a lot of the Pizzagate stuff was, I believe, fake news. People were making, I say fake news in the playful sense, like not like it was literally fake stories, but people were adding things to it that weren't true or were conjecture. But what is true is that CP is child abuse material, and it's referred to as cheese pizza. So when you have someone like Epstein, who is literally convicted of stuff like this, emailing people these terms, you kind of say, I think we know what the intention was in the redaction. But there's plenty more emails. I know that Alex, you've seen a bunch of it.
Well, you're kind of teasing me a little bit because we are talking about Jerky, and just you look at the way that they use these emails. They're not talking like they're ordering pizza, like they're speaking in clearly coded language. So, I mean, it just looks like it's obvious that they're doing stuff to kids. We knew this. And then when you talk about the child porn, that's the one thing I think Pam Bondi's told the truth about, saying that there was a ton of child porn, and that's why it took so long for them to unredact them so we could see them. So, yes, if you think that, it's just bad that they were raping kids, I don't know if I should say that word, sorry. They were doing a lot worse with CP and trading that like a currency. It's disgusting, but we all know it's true.
Let's add an allegedly to that. One of my issues with
What's allegedly?
Everything he
You don't
just
think they're
said.
trading child CP? You don't think they're trading CP?
Who's they?
Like Epstein to
Whoa,
maybe,
hold on. Pam Bondi said they were.
Yeah, Pam
Sure.
Bondi said that they had CP.
I
like
think
tons of it, and that's why they weren't going to release the files.
That's exactly what she said.
I think when it comes to the Epstein files, people are running fast and loose with the truth. And that's why people like CNBC feel the need to say that being part of the release of thousands of documents and photos does not imply any wrongdoing. Because if you were even referenced in the files, it's a guilt by association, and it feels as though there's a witch hunt. Some would argue more deservedly so. Obviously, everybody who is accused or involved in any child abuse should be, charged and indicted and charged to the fullest extent of the law. But I feel like the threshold for that evidence has become lower and lower.
Elaad, let me
get. Wait. There's one more thing I want to add to that.
I play devil's advocate all the time. I'm just surprised that this is the topic that you would like to play devil's advocate on.
Bro, it's
just
listen.
seems like very weird.
No, I want to be clear here.
Bro. But my whole thing with Trump was the stop making me defend Trump because they kept lying about him. I have no problem praising Trump. I voted for the guy twice. I want him to succeed. But come on, Trump screwed up. The DOJ screwed this up. The FBI screwed this up. They've done a miserable job on the release of the Epstein files. I will give them credit for releasing it now, but Pam Bondi at the hearing being like, the Dow is at 50,000. I was nice. A bunch of other people, and let me tell you, I know I can get 1 million views if I pound my fist on the table and scream, Pam Bondi, you did bad. But I'm trying to be nice because they are still releasing files. But it's when she comes out and she's like, the Dow is at 50,000, I was like, that's really great. Thank you. And now on to the other thing we care about, which two things we can talk about, we can care about two different things.
Well, you do need to mention it dropped below 50,000 literally the next day.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I mean,
Yeah, but the point is she's going like, we should be talking about the economy. It's my response to that. This is the problem. I'm going to criticize Thomas Massie a little bit too, because I'm a big fan of the guy. He's my favorite member of Congress, but he's yelling at her saying we caught you red-handed. And I'm just like, listen, there was ample opportunity to respond to Pam Bondi and just be like, Thank you, Secretary Bondi. Was she secretary, right? AG. I'm sorry, Attorney General Bondi. I appreciate that. It is fantastic work. Thank you. It is true. The economy right now has some great indicators. Now, anyway, we were talking about something specific because the people can be happy about the economy and upset about the Epstein trafficking stuff too.
I mean, I would hope that the DOJ has started at least investigations on these people, like the people that are accused. And because if they have the files that are non-redacted, right, they should be building cases to go and prosecute. That's kind of like where we're at now. It's like there's all kinds of talk about who is and isn't in the files and stuff. But it's like, look, the DOJ's job is to prosecute people for wrongdoing. So if they have the names, they should be building cases and they should be looking to arrest people.
Yeah, but it's really not that hard. I mean, you could look at Les Wexner. There's the guy that gave him the residence in New York. Like, if they don't charge him, which I know now they're saying they opened up an investigation, I don't think anybody's going to go to jail because he was basically his right-hand man, or Jeffrey was his right-hand man, if you want to use that analogy. And I think that he would have blood on his hands. So if he does not go down, if we don't perp walk at least Les Wexner, and this is all alleged, I don't want to get sued by him, but it looks like his connection to Epstein is indisputable. And
I do think there's a lot of insanity. There are people who are making the craziest claims imaginable based on the lightest of conjecture. A good example of what I'm trying to say is the easiest example that I've brought up several times. One of the Epstein files comes from a phone tip to the FBI. A woman claiming she was a victim of sex trafficking, and she was 13 when she was trafficked, and she was on the island when Tony Hawk got married. The only issue is Tony Hawk didn't get married on the island. It seems to be a fabricated story to the FBI.
Did he go to the island at all?
No. No, like Tony Hawk is so far removed from Epstein, it's ludicrous. So what happened is there's an action sports photographer whose name is Mark Epstein, completely unrelated to Jeffrey. Jeffrey has a brother named Mark Epstein. And so when Tony Hawk got married in Fiji, Mark Epstein, the action sports photographer, was taking photos of it. This is Getty Images. And apparently this was on MTV at the time. Mm-hmm. Someone presumably saw this, assumed Mark Epstein, who took the photos, was related to Jeffrey, and then thought they could lie and claim Tony Hawk was there and the FBI would buy it. Something like that. And so now there are these articles flying around saying Tony Hawk caught with, underage trafficking victim. It's completely fake. And that I can respect when there was concerns about releasing all the files because there would be this kind of blowback on innocent people completely unrelated. Amy Schumer is in the files. So in the list of names that the DOJ dropped, Amy Schumer is one of them. Amy Schumer named in the Epstein files.
She probably would eat a kid, but I mean, that's just,
yeah, but that's more for eating disorder.
Yeah, she's just hungry. Yeah,
she's just hungry.
Well, I do think it's a little bit of a liability.
She did Ozempic though, didn't she?
For the president with Howard Lutnick, as far as he goes, Secretary of Commerce, I believe, because he denied. He said that he cut ties with Jeffrey Epstein, but then after he alleged to have cut ties, he visited Epstein Island again, allegedly,
with his family.
With his family, and this is after 2008 when he was convicted of a few different. I believe he was given a sweetheart deal in Florida, but it was well known after 2008, the 2008 conviction, that he was involved in these sort of crimes against children.
He had 700 employees die in 9/11, and he happened to not be at work that day.
What do you mean? Like, was he supposed to be?
He might have had prior knowledge.
Was he supposed to be?
Yeah, he had a company with 700 employees.
Yes, but that doesn't mean
he was there every day,
work.
just like Larry Silverstein.
Like
he showed up every day. Yeah.
Could you imagine if it was like a Sunday here? I'm not here, and then like the building burned down. Like, how strange! Tim wasn't at work that day. I'm like, well, I'm
just asking questions. I don't know. Did he get a text message from somebody saying these towers are going to go down? I don't know, but I do know that Condoleezza Rice and George Bush were both briefed that there's a guy in Afghanistan named Osama bin Laden that wanted to fly planes into buildings. But maybe he got that brief. I don't know, but he was not at work that day.
Let's jump to this story to appease our friend Alex Stein. This is from Times Now News, Epstein Jerky, what it means and how it fueled cannibalism and ritualistic sacrifice claims. The U.S. Department of Justice released more than 3 million documents recently in which a 2019 interview between FBI officials and an anonymous man speaks about ritualistic sacrifice aboard Epstein's yacht in 2000. They say when the DOJ released more than 3 million records, blah, 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 the trove quickly became fodder. We get it. The one about ritualistic sacrifice. The most graphic allegations appear in summaries of a reported 2019 interview. In one version of the interview, an agent concluded the claims did not warrant further investigative resources. The DOJ files also note that the man did not allege cannibalism during the interview, though he claimed the individuals consumed human feces. The FBI declined to comment when asked why the allegations were not pursued. Despite that, the words cannibal and cannibalism appear dozens of times elsewhere in the document collection. A search of the Epstein library shows 52 mentions of cannibal and 6 of cannibalism according to Snopes. None of those references, however, connect Epstein's to cannibalistic acts. Some appear in unrelated context, media summaries, academic syllabus. We don't need to include those. But there was a conversation about eating jerky, and Alex believes that is a reference to people.
I know it is.
Why?
Because they cannot say this. That's why they use coded language. Obviously, they don't. They can't just be in the email.
What did they say?
That 13-year-old girl tasted so good. Yum. They're not going to say that. But the way that they talked about jerky in these emails, there's an email where it's like, oh, yeah, he's going to stop eating so much jerky and start eating regular food again. You just got to go through the emails. I mean, you can take my
So
word
do you think
for it,
Ellen
you can look
DeGeneres
it
is a
yourself.
cannibal?
Probably, yes. It actually pull up Ellen DeGeneres.
Do you think they found a code word for human meat?
Let's just play it here.
What?
Hope you are feeling better. Did we analyze the jerky? Why didn't we get jerky this week? I also added more to the jerky and ginger lemongrass. Thank you so much. Super cool. Beef jerky, delicious. Jojo is here and we'll walk the jerky over to Jeffrey. We'll walk the jerky over to Jeffrey.
Why would jerky walk around? Why would it do that?
Delicious lunch, beef jerky. Steve and I are very grateful, above all, for your friendship. Some of these emails are so
get weirder,
wholesome, aren't they?
right?
It's too bad they eat kids. A small insulated
weird,
bag
listen.
would be fine. I don't ruin checking it. No need for crazy amounts of ice. One should do. There is one bag of beef jerky in the fridge. Please get it. Also, Blank has more at her place. Please get it from her as well. I suppose it needs to be in a cold, insulated bag. Just wanted to touch base about jerky. J.E. said he was going to start eating regular food again, so he might be eating less jerky. He said he has 6 bags of it in a downstairs freezer. Why would you freeze jerky? Steve
Literally.
needs a 6 to 8 ounce portion of jerky. I gave you all the jerky we had, and it lasted only half the amount of time it was meant to. I felt like it was more important for you to have the jerky to...
It sounds like they're eating people, bro.
Yes! Yes! Listen to the last one. He's like, oh, I thought it'd be more important for you to have the jerky than me. If it's just normal jerky, you go to CVS. You can buy unlimited Jack Link's beef jerky. So why is it more important for that person to have it unless it's some sort of rare commodity?
And not only that, here's the email. They redacted the to and from.
Why did they redact it?
J.E. said he was going to start eating regular food again, so he might be eating less jerky.
Why is it illegal to send an email about jerky, Tim? Answer that question. Is it a crime to say, if I send you an email about jerky, would they redact that? No. But it's because the FBI knows they're talking about children, and so they're not going to be like, oh,
Well,
man,
hold on,
that
hold on.
live meat tastes
This is
so
your
good.
smoking gun. It's pathetic. This is
We
like a
don't
pathetic
know-
I don't need a smoking
Okay.
gun because there's
You
people
should.
like Jimmy Savile, and that I know that they do. It's called SRA, Satanic Ritualistic Abuse.
Here, wait, hold on. Here's another one. We have no idea where it came from. It was sent to Epstein. Francis has time to come tomorrow to show me how to make it. Jerky class, anyone? He will also bring you a taste of his new jerky recipe from the restaurant and sends a warm hello. He's working at a restaurant called Cannibal and Cooks. Wait for it. Beef jerky and steak. He has time at 3 p.m. tomorrow if it's okay with you.
Tim, these sounds like they could be your emails about beef
No,
jerky.
they do not.
I don't
Dude,
like.
they
No,
do not
bro.
sound like his emails, dude.
Look,
That's a
there's
false
enough there
accusation.
to make people be like, "What's going on here?" To be honest with you, like,
Sure, it's an odd email exchange, but I don't know if this is indicative of child sacrifice.
Cannibal
Maybe I'm the
and
moron.
Cooks
Well, okay, think about how prevalent abortion is. We know that Planned Parenthood has been caught. There's been people from Planned Parenthood caught with baby parts. So there is, whether you want to believe it or not, there is a black market for dead baby parts, babies, dead bodies, and China. I'm not saying they're into it, but they also supposedly, get hostages and they'll take a liver. Like you can buy a heart in China. You can't do that here in America.
there was an FBI interview of one of the purported victims. They were saying things like, while on his yacht, he witnessed African American males having sex with white blonde females, all of whom were bleeding during the intercourse. He was a victim of a type of ritualistic sacrifice in which his feet were cut with a scimitar but left no scarring. On the yacht, he witnessed babies being dismembered, their intestines removed, and individuals eating the feces from these intestines. He was also raped by George Bush I. These are just allegations from
Real quick, if they admit that they would eat human feces, you don't think they would
these are
eat
just-
human meat?
These
if
are
they would eat human
alleged-
poop?
Wait.
This is alleged from an interview.
Well, they said
so I'm
A
telling you.
redacted name says, Rachel, the people on the island are telling me Jeffrey didn't like the last batch of jerky that Steve sent to him. Not sure if it's too late to stop the shipment.
Why would you need to stop the shipment if it's beef jerky that you can get at the grocery store?
Because it's special jerky.
yeah.
Tim knows you could get special jerky. I've had Tim's special jerky.
No, you
you
have not, dude. Shut up, Elaad. You've not had any
I
jerky
think the
with Tim
issue-
Pool.
Wait, hold on. I think we
Gosh,
have kangaroo jerky in there.
And then Tim
Yeah, from
complains, no,
Elijah
this jerky
Schaefer,
sucks.
believe it or
Stop
not,
that
yeah.
shipment. Stop that shipment. We don't want more of that shitty jerky.
No, hold on. The exotic jerky that I have is from Western Maryland. When I went to there's like this lake, and there's a jerky store that sold a whole bunch of different kinds of jerky. Not one of which was human children, in fact, but they did have a good variety.
Okay, just because they're eating children doesn't mean that jerky doesn't also exist.
Hold on.
I mean,
No, what if they're not eating children, though? It sounds like they're eating something untoward. It may be people. I don't know. But the issue that I take is, I think it's fair to say this is weird. They're doing something. But when you jump the gun and say they're eating children, it makes people think you're nuts.
what if I told you that everybody in this room has eaten human beings before? You're going to say that's impossible, but in meat processing plants, they've went and tested the meat, and there has been issues where there's human DNA in it, like
Because
somebody
like,
cut their hand or something and got in the meat. So
well, yeah, but or because like a guy named Juan who's supposed to clean the vat trips and falls.
yeah, exactly, sweating. That's what I'm saying. So in a way, we've all eaten human.
In a way, if you think long and hard.
You ever hear the story about the guy? There was like a tuna vat, and he went inside to clean it out.
himself? Yeah.
No, and the other guy pressed the button and closed it and cooked him alive, and he was in there like
Oh, intentionally, it was just murder.
No, it
was
was
an accident.
accidental.
Oh, it was an
but
accident.
Yeah, he got cooked. Yeah.
cooked alive.
The big
Yeah, so again, like, what if they're like? It is weird when they say they're going to walk the jerky because you can't. You know what I mean?
I think they meant they walk the bag of jerky.
Dude, what does it mean that he's going to
over.
start eating?
Right. I'm gonna walk the jerky over like I'm
yes,
carrying
yeah, I
it.
think that
Like,
is
Tim, I'll
right.
bring you. I'll walk the jerky over to you.
But-
Yeah.
but
We just got
explain
an
this
order
one.
for you.
Yeah, I'll walk it
over to Tim.
Yeah.
And then Tim doesn't want more of the shipment of jerky because he didn't like the jerky.
Yeah, because they
No.
put celery salt or like fennel on it. Get it out of here with that. Caraway
And what
seeds.
about the weird email where it says, "Oh, he's going to start eating regular food," as if in the email he's like, "Oh, he's going to start eating less jerky and more regular."
Well, I will give some pushback because I had a period where I literally ate nothing but chicken wings for like 6 months.
that was when you were doing keto. That's a little different.
No, I mean, I was literally like I could have eaten a lot of other things, but I just really wanted to eat chicken wings. They're delicious.
Well, like I mean,
Go ahead, Phil.
well, it's just that like I just want to reiterate it. Like at this point, there's enough information here where they need to start finding these people that are making the allegations, interviewing them, and looking to see if they can press charges.
Wait, hold on. Here's an important one for Elaad. Beef jerky is drying. Another hour or so till it's finished. What is the best way to get it to you? One of the children that we cut up to make the jerky.
Maybe he was having that South African, the biltong, where you need to like leave it out to cure and dry.
I'm just imagining like how funny it would be if like on Epstein's Island there's like a gigantic jerking station and they've got a whole bunch of exotic like legitimate beef jerkies, and then it's just like Alex is screaming, "It's children!" and the people
imagine
from Epstein Island are like, "You have no idea the
Okay,
recipes."
what about this?
Yeah, I could make
orders,
that
He orders
movie.
200 gallons of sulfuric acid. You don't think that's?
Oh,
weird?
bro, that was for dissolving people.
what do you think that's for?
One of the FBI files talked about there were 2 dead women buried on this ranch because apparently what happened was, and this is, come on, look, when you go to people and you say jerky sounds like they're eating people, they're like, man, I don't know, that sounds crazy. But what do we know for a fact? Epstein was convicted for hiring underage girls as masseuses, but having them do sexual things. One of the tips was that there were 2 women that were hired for sexual favors, and when they were doing them, Epstein and whoever else was strangling them at the same time, and they died. They panicked and then buried the women on some ranch property. That is entirely believable based on what we do know about Epstein. Don't get me wrong. You can believe the stuff about the jerky and all these other crazy things, but I'm saying, like, if you go to someone and say, Epstein was convicted for hiring underage prostitutes, and in one of the files, they allege 2 of them died during rough sex, and then Epstein and his accomplices buried the bodies. So when you hear about them buying, 200 gallons of sulfuric acid, and what did they bring to the island?
I think he ordered it to the island, if I remember correctly.
And you have to wonder why someone needs a private island in the first place. And it's because ain't nobody coming to investigate on your private island. And here's the other thing, the important thing to understand. When you bring a young woman to your island, she's not going to say no because of the implication.
Well, and then they say, and I don't want to make
That was a reference. Anybody who got it, if you don't get the reference, then
No, I didn't. But
well, everyone in the chat's going to understand the reference.
well, what I'm saying is,
The implication.
I don't get it.
The implication.
No.
You bring a woman onto the middle of the ocean.
Yes.
And you ask something of her, and she has to say yes because of the implication.
Because she's out in the middle of
The
nowhere.
implication is that you're going to kill her.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you probably would. And I'm just saying this. Now they're saying you got to look into Richard Branson because he has an island, Necker Island, and Nekker. I don't want to get canceled for that. And And I'm not saying he's eating kids out there, but it's called Virgin Island, and then a bunch of celebrities go out there.
Virgin Island?
You know, Virgin, he owns Virgin, whatever.
So what are you saying? They're not eating a bunch of kids out there, but what you're not saying that. But what are you saying
they're
about
eating
the
kids?
island?
I'm not saying that they're not eating kids.
You know,
Okay,
hold
there we
on.
go.
I want to give a shout out. I want to give like a half shout out, half marks to Virgin Airlines or whatever. Was it Virgin Atlantic or something? Because I flew on them one time, and you know how they do the safety briefing? In the safety briefing for Atlantic, they literally went, if you don't know how to put on your seatbelt, something is wrong with you. Moving on. And I started laughing, and I was like, that's great. And then I guess they changed it later because the insurance company or something was like, legit, you have to tell them to do this. Because there were probably people like who didn't know how to put on a seatbelt. But shout out to Atlantic for assuming general intelligence and common sense, I guess.
Overstating it, I guess.
Overstating it indeed.
I think as far as a lot of the Epstein stuff goes, it's hard to blame people for wanting to add on all these additional maybe conspiracies onto the Epstein stuff because originally so many people overpromised and underdelivered on this story. So many people in positions of power did this. So, for example, before Kash Patel was the director of the FBI, he used to come on shows like this and bitch about the Epstein stuff and say how there were all of these lists out there. And then Jeffrey Epstein inside the jail is able to kill himself, and then they've removed parts of the file watching over him.
Aside from the killing himself part, well,
we don't even know that he killed himself.
No, but hold on. Aside from that, that was a misstep by the FBI. But doesn't the release of the files kind of vindicate all the other stuff they were saying that all this nefarious things?
Well, no, because there's a few other things. Pam Bondi bringing in a bunch of influencers to making them look like a bunch of idiots, like they were getting new stuff. But no, because they overpromised on so much. So because they said, oh, there's this gigantic pedophile ring, and then there's a list of people, and it wasn't only Jeffrey Epstein who was procuring underage women with Ghislaine Maxwell. They were using this and filming, famous and influential people to use this as blackmail. Not a lot of that stuff came to fruition, but because so much was overpromised and underdelivered, it's hard to blame people for thinking there's more there.
I'm going to jump to this story. Ghislaine Maxwell is an imposter. You've heard the story that Epstein is alive, perhaps. Maybe you believe it, maybe you don't. But the latest story is Ghislaine Maxwell recently gave a deposition. We have this from the New York Post. Watch Ghislaine Maxwell's prison video to Congress when pressed on Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. And people decided to just, take a look at her face. And they found out that she apparently got a nose fattening job.
Yeah.
Because when you look at a picture of Ghislaine Maxwell in the public and you compare it to the image of the Ghislaine Maxwell in prison, you're like, okay, that's a completely different nose. It's much wider and bigger, and it's a little bit more snubbed than Ghislaine Maxwell's nose that we saw in the past. So the question is, did she get a nose job to make her nose bigger? I did not know that was a thing. Maybe it is.
I mean, you can say that she gained weight, but that the nose doesn't really change.
I think that's a mask. I think they just put another person. They have one of those latex. They have latex masks.
And that's why she pleaded the fifth.
Exactly.
Wait, let's play the video. Oh, wait, where's the audio at? Everything's muted.
Respectfully decline to answer this question and any related questions. My habeas petition is pending.
Look, they put a
in the
really
Southern
fat
District
person
of
next
New
to her to
York.
make her look thinner because they know.
I therefore
By comparison.
She does look fat.
I know, but look, they put a
My
morbidly
rights
obese woman
signed
next to her to make her look a
under
little
the Fifth
skinnier.
Wasn't her dad like an Israeli agent or something?
Robert Maxwell, yes, dude. He was a media tycoon, owned a bunch of different businesses, and never officially said that he was part of Israelis Mossad. But when he died, you can look it up. They gave him an official, like he was a diplomat, like he was the highest level of their military. That was a sort of send off they gave him for his funeral.
Oh, it's on his Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So he never admitted that he worked for Israel, but they gave him an official.
He was Israeli.
Yes, but I'm saying he never admitted that he was an agent.
Oh, wow. They say he was buried on Jerusalem's Mount. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, yes, dude. Yes. He got the most significant
Here we go.
get.
Robert Maxwell, media proprietor, they say he was buried in Jerusalem's Mount of Olives in what has been described as a state funeral attended by much of the Israeli political establishment, including the president, prime minister, and 6 serving and former heads of intelligence. His death triggered the collapse of his publishing empire, blah, blah, blah. Well, there you go. This is her dad?
Yes, so she's independently wealthy.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Look at that. He's got Ghislaine. Look at this picture of Ghislaine Maxwell. Look at this picture of her.
She looks so different in all of these photos.
That is true.
Unrecognizable, actually.
That's not the same person, bro.
Yeah, that picture on the left and the mugshot look the same, but then the other one.
All 3 of these are different people in my eyes. I don't see any resemblance.
Well, this is probably going to get me canceled a little bit, but they've seen.
You think she looks nice here?
No, there's one where she's a lot younger. It's like she's in her 20s, like where she's at these 80s parties, and Ghislaine actually used to be hot.
Oh, of course. Same with Hillary Clinton.
Well, I don't know if Hillary Clinton was ever hot.
Well, you think Ghislaine Maxwell was
true.
hot, but not
no,
Hillary
Ghislaine
Clinton?
actually was hot.
No. Hillary Clinton was a
that-
lot hotter than
this is
Ghislaine
something
Maxwell,
that-
than a younger
No
Ghislaine Maxwell.
This is a point that you're
Yes,
never going to get
yes.
off.
Wait, Elaad, chill. What Alex is saying is he likes
Look.
Jewish ladies.
Kinda. She looks
She
good
does
there.
look like a nice Jewish woman there.
Nice.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that she's such like a pedophilic creep that procured young children for Jeffrey Epstein.
That's
Yeah,
what she was able to
but
do.
hold
She
on,
was
like,
hot.
could you see this picture of this woman? Could you imagine? I'm just like, for everybody out there, you some friend of yours that went to high school with, and then 20 years later you find out that they like 8 people.
Gross.
You're like, hey, remember Janet from high school? Yeah, she 8 people.
Chrissy Teigen said on that show she wanted to eat human meat. So
What show? What?
she was being interviewed. Yes, you could look it up. Type in Chrissy Teigen human meat, and she makes this joke like, "Would you ever eat human?" And this other guy's like, "No," and she's like,
Wasn't there a CNN reporter who ate?
Yeah, Reza Aslan. He's a cannibal.
Yeah.
So here's what happened. Okay,
cannibal-
wait, hold on. I got a question. Reza Aslan, they were trying to be like Vice on CNN. So he went to this like Hindu extremist sect, and they were cooking human meat. And they handed him a piece of it, and then he was apparently scared that if he didn't eat it, they were going to kill him or something. So he ate the piece of human. It was like a small piece of human brain. And then I said he's a cannibal.
Yeah.
I say he's a cannibal. And I had a friend who told me he's not a cannibal. A cannibal is someone who like regularly eats people. And then I said, why does that not make him a cannibal? Because like he did it one time. And I said, so if a dude like rapes a kid one time, he's not a pedophile? Well, that's different. No! Reza Aslan is a cannibal. He ate people. That's it. You eat people one time, you're a cannibal forever.
Right.
Now, I don't know that Ghislaine Maxwell ate anybody. Okay? I don't know that Jeffrey Epstein ate anybody. Those emails sound very, very weird, but I just want to point this out. Guys, I'm sorry if this makes me sound conspiratorial, but when I pull up this picture of Ghislaine Maxwell from her mugshot, and then the picture of the woman in that jail, that is a different person.
"Yep."
That is a different person.
And you saw Daily Mail put out the article that they used decoys when they got rid of his body from the federal prison.
They admitted that to trick the press for seemingly no reason, they stuffed a body bag full of boxes and cardboard and stuffed in pillows to make it look like a body was being removed.
Makes no sense. But
It literally makes no sense.
yeah, so I mean, could he still be alive? I don't know.
It's so funny.
They did a Ditch magazine, not even trying to shout them out. They looked into the FedEx account through the leaked emails, and there is a FedEx account linked to Jeffrey Epstein that has been getting packages, and you can chat GPT.
Remember impostor Hillary?
Imposter Hillary?
Yeah, you guys remember that?
No.
No.
There was let me see if I can try and find it. There was a picture of Hillary Clinton allegedly with Bill Clinton. It's probably going to be hard to find. And everybody went nuts on X being like, yo, that's not Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton body double claim. See if I can find that photo. It's hard to find. It was this was probably like 2019 or something. I can't find it. Maybe someone else will find it on X or something. Tweeted at Elaad, I suppose.
Well, I think if you're...
Did you see her coming out against like our immigration policies, saying like
Yeah.
that it was detrimental to our society or
bad
something?
idea.
Disruptive and destabilizing. So she's becoming pretty base. So she might have been hot 30 years ago.
To be honest with you, she was against illegal immigration in 2008, and then she was for it, and now she's against it again. Very John Kerry-esque, I think it was.
Yeah, and I mean her husband was a border guy.
Yep.
Maybe the Clintons got a bad rep.
Well, I mean,
Not going too far. Wait, we forget Bill Clinton was all over the Epstein files, by the way.
It's all because of polling. Their internal polling shows that that the illegal immigration stuff is super unpopular. Multiple Democrats have pivoted on this because of the fact that their internal polling is absolutely catastrophic about this stuff. Americans do not want the border open, and they don't want illegal aliens coming to the country and voting and stuff.
So there's actually a bunch of these. Like this from 2016.
Dude, Hillary definitely has a body double, Tim.
Well, every world leader does. Okay, here's the thing. When we talk about like Joe Biden having a body double or Hillary Clinton having a body double, the media says you're a crazy conspiracy theorist. Then they say Saddam Hussein had like 5, Vladimir Putin has like 7.
He had more than 5.
But if you were a world leader, wouldn't you want a body double?
Yes.
Because people are trying to kill you. You know what I mean? That's why every night after the show, Elaad doesn't understand this, but I ask him if he wants to wear my shirt and wear the beanie just to make him feel better. He's like, thank you, Tim. And then he walks out in front of me. I walk 20 feet behind him.
Well,
This guy thinks anybody can confuse me for him.
Well, I did ask Elaad if he was a skater, and he was like, no, I don't skate. And he does kind of copy your swag a little bit. He's kind of swagger jacking you a little, so you should probably...
Dude, I
what
love
swag
this.
am I
Look at this.
copying?
You
Tim
need
has
to
zero
boss
swag.
Max
I love this
him
post
out.
from r/conspiracy.
swag.
This is not the same person. I'm sorry.
Dude, that is not the same person.
It's not the
Nose
same
is
person.
Very different. The jawline is very different. The chin might be the same.
Cheeks are like
They're like,
way
let's
better.
find some old fat lady and give her short black hair and call her Ghislaine. And they're like, that'll work.
Look up the masks that are like, it's like super realism masks. You can see
yeah,
them.
yeah,
So
yeah.
they can do that. They can make us look like Walter White.
They don't need, bro. Yes, you're right, but they don't need to. They can literally just take some random lady.
I don't know.
Be like, hey, you want $1 million bucks?
That's like a skinny Chinese woman under there. I can just tell by the way. I can just tell.
In a fat suit.
And it was
This
just
is
one of those
not the
latex
same
suits.
person.
It's not.
I don't get it because I like. You know what? I take that back. I get it. They'll get away with it. Of course they will. They do stuff all the time, and then what? You know.
I mean, well, who's going to do anything about it?
Right.
You know, like
Us?
DOJ.
You know what I think it
Alex
is?
Stein's going
What
to
are
do
you gonna
something
do?
about
Me?
it.
You know what I hope? I hope it's just the alien thing is real. You know, it'd be really funny. Like you heard about Obama, right? And then he was like, "Oh, aliens are real."
Yeah.
And I hope that like what happened was he gets asked by Brian Tyler Cohen if aliens are real, says yes, and then I imagine he gets home and his phone rings, and it's like one of the lizard people being like, "You made a mistake," and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Let me."
that back.
And I'll send out a tweet right now.
Well, you know why they want the fake alien invasion, right?
The fake alien.
Well, to unify all the countries under a globalist government.
That's exactly right. That is,
You know
that's what
predictive
they-
programming, right?
Well, of course.
That's why they made the Watchmen movie.
There's a lot of movies like that. You know, there's a lot of movies that predicted 9/11, but you know, it is what it is. A lot of cartoons as well.
My favorite conspiracy theory is that the Titanic was built, created on purpose to be sunk.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
And
that
they-
was an insurance.
No, it was an insurance scam. It was to kill off all the billionaires to create a bunch of dead money so they could create the Federal Reserve.
Well, that was part of it too. But the other boat, it was like the Olympic, actually was in an accident, started listing a little bit. So they actually sunk the Olympic and put the Titanic was newly built. They put
There was a book.
Yeah, but they put the Olympic
Right,
badge.
but you know about the book before the Titanic that was literally the story of the Titanic,
What was insurance fraud?
and it was about the Titan.
Yeah.
So the theory is that somebody wrote a book in the 1800s. A bunch of powerful people said, we need to create a central bank. How do we do it? Well, we need lots of capital to do it. Okay, you get a bunch of rich people in a boat. They all die. They have no heirs. And now you have a bunch of dead money. What to do with it? You create a central reserve, a central bank, a central reserve. How do you get rid of all these people? Put them on a big boat and sink it, just like in that book.
And J.P. Morgan Chase did not get on the boat. You know,
No, he was too
Or is
busy. He was too busy planning his next trip years later to Jekyll Island.
well, all I'm saying is, if you look into the conspiracy about Titanic, it's very weird. It does look like it's. I mean, the boat that still lasted, I think it's called the Olympia or the Olympic. It was an identical boat except for like one hole. I mean, from the naked eye, you couldn't even count that it had one hole, like one less room or whatever.
I want to point one other thing out too with this image. Like Asmongold, it's not someone didn't take the screenshot of Ghislaine Maxwell's faces. They took a screenshot of Asmongold's YouTube channel with him looking surprised. It's the ubiquity of Asmongold. So congratulations.
He's great. He's one of the. I mean, he's the top streamer on Twitch now.
He's no clavicular, but
I don't know, man.
All right, everybody. Here's the big news.
more money
We've
for
got this from Newsweek. Trump is going to announce aliens are real. Newsweek. I love this. You know, it's a slow news day. Newsweek ran this as their second lead article. Trump UFO announcement rumors persist online, what we know. And I'm going to stress this. Instead of starting off the article with, there is no evidence to suggest this is true, this is an online rumor with no basis, they started by saying, rumors that President Donald Trump is planning a major speech about unidentified flying objects has been growing online since claims published in early February suggested a major revelation may be imminent. Mark Christopher Lee, a British writer, filmmaker, and ufologist, said in a Monday email in part to Newsweek, quote, a Washington insider I have known personally and conducted business with has repeatedly affirmed that President Trump has prepared a historic speech acknowledging extraterrestrial visitation and the existence of recovered non-human materials and craft. Newsweek has not verified the claims. So here's the trick. The way they format their news articles makes you get all excited and hot and bothered. And then you got to scroll way down to where it says it's probably not true. The unnamed source is saying this and this. There's no evidence to this. There's no evidence of a planned speech, all at the bottom of the article. But hold on. This story has persisted for some time. Take a look at this from TMZ. Trump knows about extraterrestrial life forms, says the Age of Disclosure director, November 2025. Obama, being jealous, says aliens are real. You guys saw this. Washington Post reporting aliens are real, Obama says, as Washington shrugs. The former president appeared to confirm decades-old conspiracy theories, but then he walked back his podcast comments. Here's the funniest thing. A former president of the United States went on a big podcast and said aliens are real, and no one cared. No one cared. This is the test, the trial balloon, to where now they actually could announce aliens are real, and people will be like, yeah, we get it, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, well, this has been something that's been brewing for a couple of years now, right? Like ever since they stopped calling them UFOs and started calling them UAPs, there were people that were saying, well, you know, that there are UAPs, and the government saying, but they are our UAPs, and you know,
can we just get to the real story already? Can we the real conspiracy?
What?
You know why Obama said on that show that aliens are real, right?
He wanted to get good odds on the Kalshi betting markets?
No.
Truth maxing?
No. It's because the cabal deep state called him up before the show and said, this Epstein stuff is really bad. Please say something to distract people
it's
from
annoying
it.
that you're being sarcastic, but it probably
not.
is. Oh, yeah,
I'm not being
it probably
sarcastic.
is. Okay, good. I mean, like they're going to roll out the fake alien invasion when they need it the most, and they probably do feel a lot of heat right now.
I mean, I would love to hear the justification. Like, I would love to know the information that they say, hey, you know, we're going to announce that there are aliens. I would love to hear how they got here, because as of right now, all the science that we know says that you can't travel faster than the speed of light. So I would love to see.
Well, if they did exist, they'd have to live like in the ocean. You know,
Well,
like,
that wouldn't make them aliens.
that's what they say.
then.
Like they'll
Why?
come out from the inner Earth. If like they're aliens, like they live in a different part of the Earth than us.
Have you seen that movie with who's that chick with the weird mouth? Emma Stone.
Okay.
Weird mouth.
Yeah, she like talks like this, like her mouth is kind of weird. She did that movie. It's actually really funny, where this like right-wing conspiracy nut kidnaps her, him and his buddy, because they think she's an alien. You didn't see that?
No, I heard
yes,
it came
it's
out.
a
I heard
recent
it's
movie.
good. I haven't seen it. I actually heard it's really good.
Should I not spoil it then?
No, I think you.
No,
can.
nobody
I
gives
think
it.
I understand it how it is.
So it's really funny because the bulk of the movie, you're just like, this wackaloon conspiracy guy is nuts. He's like, you're an alien and I cut your hair off so you can't communicate with the aliens, and I've covered you in an antihistamine cream. And she's like, what? Because she's like the CEO of a chemical company. And then only in the last 5 minutes does, like, she escapes the guy, he gets killed, the police come and they're like, thank God you're okay. Then she jumps out of the ambulance, runs into her office, into her weird secret, I don't want to reveal too much, and then transports to outer space where Earth is flat and with a firmament. And she's like, I'm sorry, I couldn't communicate. They'd taken my hair. And then
taken my hair.
And then she's like, it's time to end the Earth. And then she pops the firmament, and then all the humans just die.
Very morbid end.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. Because I kind of thought it was going to be this, like, we get it, right-wing wackaloons are nuts, and it was just going to be making fun of Trump and, like, the right or something. But then it turns out the guy was right the whole time and actually was capturing aliens. I thought it was funny.
It's a nice twist.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, it was kind of obvious it was going to go one way or the other.
I mean, that is why conspiracies exist. I mean, like you did say, like people can misinterpret information and kind of, fib some, exaggerate. But there's always it's always based in some sort of truth somewhere. There's some sort of evidence, or else just people wouldn't believe it at all. So,
What do you mean, some sort of evidence, though?
Like there's past people that have eaten people, like Jimmy Savile. There are cannibals. So like the idea
There has to be a morsel
there
of
has to be
truth.
there has to be something truthful.
So when it comes to the
Nobody
Epstein
would-
files,
the conspiracy theorists.
Like how about this? If I said that the Earth was actually a bowl, it was actually a bowl, not flat, no ice wall. It's actually lightly curved convex, and that holds all the water in, and it's very slight. It's very slight. And sometimes there's tsunamis because if the bowl tilts, the water rushes over. No, like, you might get some people to believe something like that, but the reason why that's not a prominent conspiracy theory is that flat Earth actually has some prehistory.
Yeah.
That is, the Bible describes the firmament and the upper oceans and things like this. And so you start with the basic truth of you experience the Earth as if it were flat, as far as you know. Then you can start to guide people a certain direction and trick them and then wrap them up in crazier and crazier lies.
I think that's fair. But what I'm saying is, to my exact point, there is some truth to that Epstein was doing weird stuff with kids, with, prime ministers of countries. So, I mean,
He went to jail for it.
Yeah.
And so what we know is, I mean, come on. You got a guy who, we have women who are like, yes, literally he was hiring us as underage girls. You know how the story broke, right? How they actually, how he actually got prosecuted?
when he was first arrested.
2 underage girls, like high school girls, got into a fight. And then after the fight broke out, they searched the girls and found a bunch of cash. And they said, "Where'd you get this money?" And she was like, "I got paid by some guy to," you know what I'm saying?
It's a Netflix documentary I saw.
Is that how they yeah.
That's what happened. You had the mom, the kid had like $500, and the mom's like, "How do you have $500?" And she just told her mom, and then her mom went to the cops.
Yep. And then Epstein got caught. Now, you think that was the only time you ever did it?
Of course not.
Right.
No.
And right. So anyway, more to the point is, do you think he was being directed by aliens to do it?
Well, he might have thought they were aliens because, you know, there's Aleister Crowley. Some of these people, they do practice satanic rituals.
Do you know?
It doesn't mean alien, though.
Do you know?
Well, I mean, you could argue like they're demons, that they're...
Alex.
Yes?
Do you know about the Anunnaki?
Of course. They created the Earth, dude.
Why did they create the Earth?
They were making human hybrids, and they actually created the white race.
Why? Why were they making the hybrids?
What's the leader's name again? What was it? Yakub?
No, that's not Anunnaki. You're wrong.
Okay. Well,
You're talking about Black Hebrew nationalism or Israel.
Black
Israel's-
Hebrew Israelites, maybe.
Yeah. So the
Giant one,
Anunnaki
and Black Hebrew is-
live on a planet Nibiru,
Oh.
and it has an elliptical orbit with the sun of 2,500 years, which means for a short period it travels around our sun and it gets warm. But after it leaves, it starts getting colder, and for 2,000 years, it's going to be very, very cold. So the intelligent alien race, the Anunnaki, use gold particles in their atmosphere to create a greenhouse effect to reflect heat back in. So what they did was, when they came around into the solar system and saw Earth, they started creating a hybrid slave race so that they would mine gold for them and value it so that the Anunnaki could use the gold. Unfortunately, the first slave race they created was too smart and understood the nature of the universe, and so rejected the rule of the slaves and said no. So the Anunnaki said, we need to make a stupider race. Smart enough to do any task, but not smart enough to understand the nature of reality.
Okay.
And then they created humans. And then the humans were like, gold is good, and gold and silver we love. And that's one of the conspiracy theories about what the aliens are. And the funny thing is, in the past like 15 or 20 years, the people who believe this particular theory, and I'm sure there's like a million different versions of the same theory, argued that we were entering the next era when Nibiru would return and they would come back and start controlling the politics of the earth so that they could start taking all of our gold. And then the best part about this is it's far-fetched lunacy nonsense, but you can jigsaw puzzle piece it together to make it make sense, like all the gold in Fort Knox is presumed to be missing around the time, you know.
There's your kernel of truth.
Exactly.
Well, is it missing? Do they admit that it's all missing?
Well, there's a conspiracy
I know
theory
that's a
missing.
conspiracy, but
then you mix all the conspiracies together, and there you go.
The guy in charge of the Anunnaki, his name was Marduk.
Well, there you go, Marduk.
He assigns the
Marduk.
Anunnaki their position, and there's a metal band called Marduk now.
Oh.
A black metal band.
but Yakub was real. Like what you
That's
said,
Black
is not real.
Hebrew-
Yeah, or whatever that is.
He was a black guy who created white people to be evil?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, dude.
Dude, the white people, if you would argue, they are the most evil, though. I mean, because
Why is that?
well, they're the smartest, so they can do the most tricks, you know. And
What does that mean? I don't know, bro. I got to be honest. Have you ever gone skiing?
Yeah, I have gone skiing. It's
And
all-
like
it's all
people
white
put
people.
thousands of dollars in ski equipment, they just put it on the ground and walk away and then come back an hour later.
It's because it's all white people that go.
That's true.
Yeah.
No bite.
Well, I don't know that it's because they're all white people, but this culture is high trust. There
Well,
was
Saudi Arabia is like that. You can just leave your wallet, and it'll.
That's because they'll chop your hands off.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a friend who went to, I think it was like the Emirates or whatever, and there was a jewelry store where the guy walked outside of his store and he lined gold necklaces in front of the store. And she was like, aren't you scared that someone might steal them? And he goes, no, they'll get their hands chopped off. So it's like, I don't got to worry about
Yeah, like the gold stores don't have to have like armed
ju-
security there and stuff.
The justice system there isn't the same kind of long, drawn-out process
There was,
here in the U.S. either.
There was a viral video. It went viral because it was like 3 black dudes who went to a ski resort and stole like a ton of ski gear. Because, like, I got to be honest. Apparently, this story happens quite a bit.
Do they move it, or was
Wait,
it?
keep going with
you
the
can
story.
easily
This
move it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Post it on Craigslist. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Ski gear, and it's just like, nah, you know. But there are tons of stories where someone grabbed the wrong ski gear. And then you come out and you're like, where's my board? And someone comes like, oh, I'm so sorry, dude. I grabbed the wrong, like, your board, my board, like, identical. I didn't even notice. I almost grabbed the wrong skis because I had rentals. And there's a bunch of, like, similar brands used by the rentals. And I'm like, oh, wait, that wasn't mine. And so the thing about ski resorts, is especially the right ski resort. Everybody's rich. That's the thing.
Yeah,
Super wealthy.
It's a rich man's game. I mean, there are like ways to do it, I guess with value where it doesn't cost your family. You buy like a ski pass, but you almost have to live there. You have to almost be a local for it to not.
Well, I
be
mean,
super
like
expensive.
if you live in like New England, there's a couple of mountains you can go to. You can go to Vermont and stuff, but it's still like a couple $100 for a.
It's expensive. It's a rich man's. It's
gear
like
is
golf
expensive.
in a way,
Is golf?
I mean, it's like golf. Golf's an expensive sport. It's similar to that. So
what the golf clubs cost?
those get stolen too.
They do.
A few hundred, even for like a used pair.
Yeah.
If you want to get the whole set, right?
Yeah.
Stein, to pivot a little bit though, is there anything that's a little just bit too far out for you where you're just like, actually, nah, that's BS. Maybe the Earth
Charlie
isn't
Kirk's
flat.
a time traveler. That's not true.
He's not a time
He
traveler?
did text that, but I.
Oh, but on Charlie Kirk, is Erica Kirk responsible for anything?
No.
No, that's like 101 conspiracy theory now. They do.
Yeah, no,
nowadays.
she
though.
didn't know
Haven't you
or
seen the
having-
videos though? And
She had nothing to do with her husband's death. No way. But this is the bad part. Charlie faced immense criticism being the leader of Turning Point. They made cartoons about him, so she's gonna have to face intense criticism.
what do you think of everybody saying that she's in on it? And like that's a mainstream thing to say nowadays.
I disagree with that, but at the exact same time, I am a free speech absolutist, so I'm not going to be like that.
Why do you
person
think
should be
so
kicked off.
many people believe that, or are willing to spew it? I don't even know if they actually believe it. I think they're just trying to throw dirt in her face. But
Attention.
No,
Is that
I
what
don't-
you
I
think,
don't know
Alex?
I don't know if it's just attention because I think that a lot of people, it's just like with the Epstein files and the similar fact that we want more transparency. And so until the government gives more transparency, people are going to come up with their own conclusions.
Well,
that
I mean,
sound
but, I mean,
more-
Didn't
I
you see the
understand that,
evidence
but at
from
the same
Candace?
time, like the
I haven't
more
seen that much
transparency-
evidence from
Yeah, but
Candace.
the more transparency thing, they were making these accusations like days after, like a week after Charlie was killed. So it's like you don't get any kind of resolution within a week after it happened.
And this goes back to royal times. Like that would always happen. Like when a king would die, they thought it was like a woman trying to take. This is kind of like, it just happens. That's kind of the story that they're going to tell, and a lot of people are going to believe it, and some people are obviously not going to believe it. And I don't think Erica had anything to do with her husband.
I'm struggling to figure out like how you decide when something's like definitely true and definitely not, because I feel like the Erica Kirk
Maybe
stuff would
because
be
I'm
right up your alley. For example, like they would say, "Oh, the person in the crowd who yelled that I did it, even though that they weren't
They
the
said
actual
Charlie
shooter."
faked his death. Charlie would never fake his death. I mean, I wasn't best friends with Charlie, but the idea of him faking his death was just ludicrous. He would never do that. He's not dishonest. So, yeah. So I don't.
Well, I mean, I don't see what the benefit would be for Charlie faking.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, because then it makes it way.
But there's people on the internet that are saying that. And I'm
It makes
just
it way more difficult for him to see his family.
Faked it? No, they're saying that Erica's responsible for it.
I've
That's
heard
like
that.
the
I've
big.
heard that. I don't believe that. Obviously.
There's a lot of things going around. People are saying a lot of different stuff. They're saying that it was a dude in the crowd. There was a guy with the 22 standing there. standing
My
close. There's all
favorite
kinds of-
was that Charlie got shot in the back clearly, and that he was shot by the guy in front of him in the bushes.
Yeah.
The one thing.
Wait, that's
Incoherent.
not possible.
Totally
The
incoherent.
one thing I would like to know, though, it's that every time there is a shooter, the FBI is like, oh, they were on our radar. We didn't do anything. I would just imagine that Lance Twiggs and Tyler were on their radar. I mean, whether they want to admit that, and I don't know that. I'm just purely speculating. I just feel like if they were in Discords talking about this, and I do think that he talked about it.
Dude, I feel like this is naturally up your alley, though. I mean, didn't you
laundry
hear that
talking
Charlie
about
Kirk was turning on Israel, and Israel had every incentive to go after him? I mean, I feel like this is right up your alley.
I mean, I don't know what your point is, I guess. I mean, I work for Turning
That he was
Point.
turning on Israel, and Israel had to kill him because he was turning on Israel, and they
Well,
didn't want to
there
give him
was
time to
just-
do
there was
so.
just
And
text
didn't you see those text messages? And
There were
doesn't that
text
mean that?
messages that he said that. I don't think Charlie would ever turn his back on Israel, but maybe he showed some frustration. I think that that's fair. I mean, but I don't think that he would ever turn his back on
Yeah.
Israel.
What do you think it says about people willing to use those texts and things like that to attack, the things that he built, which is Turning Point, and his wife, his widow now?
Well, Charlie was attacked his entire career, so people aren't going to stop attacking Turning Point. I guess you would just say the difference now, it's some conservatives now are attacking it.
Well, I mean,
If you want to call him that.
yeah, I was.
I
Gonna
mean,
say,
I would say that there's right-leaning people that are attacking it now.
I think there's a difference between right-leaning and conservative nowadays.
Well, whatever. I'm just saying it used to just be strictly from the left. That's why Jezebel was doing articles before he died, hiring people on Etsy to do spells on him. So if that was a regular occurrence in his life, weird stuff like that, not people doing spells necessarily. So he was constantly under attack from the left. Now that attack is coming, from more people on the right. So it just seems a little more intense. But listen, I don't think Erica Kirk had anything to do with her husband's death. But sadly, people are always going to say that because that's just you can't change people's minds.
I want to jump to this story we had. This is it's a tragic story that just broke a couple hours ago. We've been waiting on details for it about this shooting. You may have heard at the hockey rink in Pawtucket, a father shot his wife and 3 kids in a horror family dispute. Now, the thing about the story is that we've not gotten any details on the shooter. And when that happens, you start to question.
Start making assumptions.
Yeah, what was going on with this? Now, of course, following this, we have no details. They've not released any information. If this was like a white male, they would have said right away, like, here's the person, here's the name. The online rumors right now are that this was a father who had maybe like left his family or something, but was transgender.
Yep. There's pictures.
But is any
rumors.
of this corroborated?
No, nothing's corroborated.
The fact
yet.
that it's that vague
still
almost
just
makes it seem guilty.
That's why I'm bringing up, like, the reason we've been sitting on, like, I've been sitting on this, like, waiting, like, I don't know if we can actually report this, because other than saying a tragedy happened, we don't know much. There are tweets going up that are uncorroborated of a man. I'm not going to show because we don't know that this is the actual person. But Turtle Boy says sources are reporting the person who set up a hockey game in Pawtucket was a transgender dad. I'm not going to say the potential name. It's going to be a popsicle headache for some people, but he appears to be a diehard Trump supporter who's been warning other conservatives on Twitter not to badmouth trans people. Just yesterday, he warned Kevin Sorbo and Alex Jones that transgender people are going to go berserk if people keep bashing men like him. I've not seen any evidence to confirm that this is the individual. I don't know why people are assuming that it is, but a lot of people online are saying it is, but that doesn't mean it's true. That being said,
because they wanted
but here's the issue with the Canada shooting. It turned out that the internet was completely correct. These initial reports that it was a transgender mass shooter, when they said woman in a dress, it was in fact it was a male.
Yeah.
And so I suppose what we can opine on our stories like this is, what is it, Coulter's Law?
Coulter's Law?
Yeah, Coulter's Law is if a news report does not mention that, if they don't give the identity or background of the perpetrator, you know it's some kind of minority group.
Yep. That's what Ann Coulter says.
Right, because
pretty reliable.
Because the media will
always
they'll always tell you if it's going to be like, if it's a white male who did it, they'll just say it.
Yep.
They got no problem. If they don't tell you, then you have to wonder what minority group it might have been.
Yeah, I mean, this is likely the situation. I don't know about political affiliation, but I don't think that really matters if it's a trans person. Again, this is all still up in the air. There's no concrete.
But isn't it weird though?
Because there's
7 out of the last 8 shooters have been trans shooters.
It's I don't think it's weird at all.
Well, yeah, but I'm okay.
Flavor of the.
I know what you mean. It is bizarre though. You don't think it's weird at all. I know.
Yeah, we kind of thought saw them. No, but I'll elaborate in a second. But there's photos I'm not going to show of an individual who looks like a middle-aged man who's trans at a hockey rink, which appears to be the location in question. I don't know for sure though. So until we get better corroboration, I'm not going to show anything. But no, my point is, the reason why I think we're seeing so many of these mass shooters being trans is because people who are suffering some kind of like psychotic derangement, you go online and you're told by everybody that the pain you feel is caused by being transgender. This is the solution to everything, right? We hear it over and over again that when a teenager is depressed, someone says, maybe you're trans, and then they get fast-lined through this process. So the issue is not that the mass shooters are trans, but that people predisposed to violent, deranged tendencies are being told they're trans and they're going for it.
Yeah, and I think it shows that you're out of touch with reality if you do think that you can actually change your gender. Because, if you can't change anything or ethnicity, like, you can be half white and half black. Like our, ethnicity is a spectrum, right? You can be half whatever, but you can't be half male and half female. So there's no spectrum. It's binary. It's yes or no. And I guess you could say there's people born intersex, but I would just say they've, mutilated genitals. So it's just, if you think you can go, a man can become a woman, you're actually retarded. And they even say that, no, I'm not even kidding. They diagnose most of the trans people that have autism. So I think that's a huge correlation too.
Females.
Yeah.
The report was that like a majority, overwhelming majority of transgender young women, young females, have autism.
We talked about this.
So what's happening is you've got these young people who are undergoing some kind of typical DSM-5 mental disorder, and they're told the solution is gender medical, therapy or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this a little bit last week. The instances of bulimia and anorexia have plummeted, and the instances of trans men has risen accordingly. So it's a lot of it is likely just body dysmorphia, at least with women. That when it manifests as in men, it manifests for different reasons. But with women, it's very likely that it's all body dysmorphia. When they're young, they're going through a lot of changes in puberty and stuff, and that's a really difficult time. And then you you couple that with bringing them to a psychologist that has been indoctrinated with this kind of BS, and so they start pushing it on kids. We were talking about one kid that was 15 when she transitioned socially. She started dressing like a boy, and then 11 months later, they actually gave her surgery. And it's insane, but the fact that a doctor would do that to a 16-year-old, that's insane. But this is all like part of the basically the medicine.
Okay, wait. I think we've got some more corroboration. Let me see if I can find this.
Well, I would say everybody has like a little bit of body dysmorphia, because like if you really think about it, Phil, it's like there's bigorexia where you want to be really big. There's anorexia. So it's like we know these people are mentally ill, and I think we have to blame the parents for enabling this.
Yeah, it's confirmed. We got it. This is NBC 10 saying that let me see if I can find the Dan Janig reporting it was a man dressed in women's clothing.
Yeah.
That he targeted his family members at the hockey game. So it's looking now like this is the photos may or may not be confirmed, we don't know, but it does look like at the bare minimum a man in women's clothing killed his family, according to NBC 10.
Yeah, to pick up what you were saying, Alex, the particular case that I'm talking about, the mother actually testified because this child won a $2 million lawsuit against the doctor and the psychologist. But the mother felt like she was being coerced. She brought her kid to the psychologist, and the psychologist was like, "Okay, this is what it is." And the mother was like, "Hold on." And then the psychologist was like, "No, this is actually what it is. You have to affirm this, et cetera, et cetera." So as much as there are definitely parents that push their kids into it, there's also a total industrialization.
The doctors, they literally say that the kid's going to self-harm if
yeah,
they do this.
because part of it is because they get paid more money to do procedures. They get paid. The pharmaceutical companies make money off the lifetime of drugs that the kid has to take if they
said that at Boston Children's Hospital that they're lifelong patients.
Yeah. So it's a disgusting situation made even more horrible because the medical professionals that people are supposed to trust are actually pushing this on children.
Wow. I mean, let me just read a little bit. They say NBC 10's Dan Janig reported, citing a law enforcement source, a suspect was a father who may have been dressed in women's clothing and that he intentionally targeted family members who were at the hockey game. Conclave said police were not involved in the suspect's death. It appears from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, but we are going to investigate fully. The police were not involved in that. So according to rumors circulating on X from witnesses, this individual came in, shot his wife and then kids, and when was tackled by a bystander, pulled out a gun and shot himself. And there are photos of an individual who is clearly transgender, and they're saying this is the person in question. Other rumors are saying that the individual in question, social media account, was a Trump-supporting far-right, quote-unquote far-right trans person, but who was largely critical of the right for being anti-trans and threatened to go berserk. So this is wild.
Yeah, I mean, look, it doesn't matter what your politics are. If you have this mental disorder, you have this disorder.
You know what the issue is for a lot of these people is that with body dysmorphic disorder, there are people who, no matter how fit they get, look in the mirror and they feel like they're not fit. Something is wrong. There are dudes who are so jacked they can't itch their back. You ever see the video where they put a Post-it note on this bodybuilder's back and he can't get it off because his muscles are too big? He's like, oh man. But there are people like that. I'm not saying that guy, but there are people who look in the mirror and they see themselves scrawny, so they just keep going, keep eating. Same thing with anorexia. So the problem is, for these people who are suffering from gender dysphoria, no matter how many times they look in the mirror, they're not going to see the right thing. It's not an issue of them being the wrong gender. It's an issue of them having some kind of self-identification issue that anyone can experience in a variety of ways. There are people who there was one famous story where a guy knocked the jack out from under his car so it would crush his arm, because he felt that he shouldn't have an arm because he had body dysmorphic disorder. And so he went to the doctor and said, you need to remove my arm. It's not part of my body. And they were like, you're wrong. So then he crushed it with his vehicle so that it would be amputated and he could finally get off. There are people.
Do you remember Rich Piana?
Who's that?
The famous
I do,
YouTube
yeah.
bodybuilder. He was so famous. Look him up. He's a meme now, Rich Piana. But he would actually inject silicone into his muscles. And
right.
Yeah, you're talking about
and that was one of the reasons he died.
Synthol.
Yep.
Synthol, excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah, but at least he like worked out. You ever see
He did, but I mean,
the
that's a
Indian dudes who
mental
do
disorder.
synthol?
Like he was already jacked. He didn't need to,
Right.
put that into his muscles.
Yeah, but synthol,
He
like,
died from it. How old?
Well,
he
he
was
just had-
46.
I thought he died from something else.
He had like a heart attack.
Dehydration.
Yeah.
But he just didn't take care of himself very well.
Well, because a lot of these guys, when you want your muscles to be visible, you have to dehydrate yourself. Because the truth is, everybody's got a six pack. It's just a question of how much fat is on top of it.
Correct.
And so for a lot of these guys, you see like in the movies, they have their six pack showing, like some superhero movie, and they're like, look at me. Yeah, they don't drink water for the day or whatever.
Yeah.
They get real dehydrated,
to
and then they lean
fast,
back.
probably.
Yep. Yeah, I was reading, I think it was Chris Hemsworth said he was eating like several pounds of chicken and fish per day to maintain the mass, because you need to keep eating the protein. Otherwise, there was a funny incident where Jason was Jason Momoa, is that his name?
Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
Momoa. He was on the beach, and they said he was looking pudgy, and it was like, no, he just looked normal. He's a very fit guy. He was in between movie shoots, and he looked fit, but you couldn't see his muscles or anything. And so the assumption from these paparazzi people was like, oh, wow, look how fat he is. And it's like, no, that's like a normal body.
Well, that's like
That's a
Paddy the
healthy-
Baddy, the UFC fighter, gets like 35 pounds fatter right after his fights, like literally
Oh,
instantly. Yeah.
Or after his weigh-ins, you mean?
No, well, he gets a little bigger after weigh-ins because he probably, rehydrates, but like he's just famous for getting really fat in the off season and losing it all right before.
You know what they should do for the weigh-ins? They should they should give both people the same IV bag.
So that way they have.
Oh
the
yeah,
same
that would kind of.
fluid.
Well,
Because you're both going to gain the same amount of weight, but stop being dehydrated and killing yourself.
that guy falling was bad.
Which one?
Just recently, look it up where they were live on the air and the guy fell behind
UFC?
him. Yeah,
At a
UFC.
weigh-in, yes.
At the weigh-in, it was a super viral video.
Because he passed out, right?
Yeah, but it's hard to watch.
3 weeks ago.
You want to get as
Let's pull this up. Let's pull this up. Is this it right here?
Yeah, and they were live on the air.
Oh, it's a doctor talking about it. Let's get this doctor's opinion. He's going to tell us all about this stuff.
It was an extremely concerning scene earlier at UFC 324 weigh-ins when Cameron Smotherman completely
is it?
collapsed after stepping off the scale from his weigh-in. In this video, we'll talk about what exactly happened here, and more importantly, the response afterwards. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Brian.
I'm going to
Sugar,
skip
and the goal
ahead,
of my
Brian.
channel is to teach you more about passes out. Eventually, they regain consciousness, right? He was able to sit back up. He regained consciousness here. But then, unfortunately, what do we see? And he goes back down, right? He still feels lightheaded. There hasn't been enough time for that water that he's drinking to get distributed well enough to restore that plasma volume, to restore optimal blood supply to his brain, and he goes back down again. We then see this whole sequence as they get him off of the stage. They are literally just carrying him, and it looks like he's still unconscious.
Jeez.
I mean, I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know. I don't know what we're doing here, because you should not be just carrying an unconscious.
Dude. Wow, man. That's crazy.
I mean, the same
Shout out to
thing with,
Brian Sutterer, MD. For
He's
his
funny.
breakdown.
same thing with bodybuilders. Not. I haven't seen this kind of thing happen, but bodybuilders, before they go on stage, they're completely dehydrated because it makes your skin look super, super thin. And a lot of bodybuilders use diuretics and stuff to just suck the water out of them. So they're on stage. They're smiling and they're posing for the camera and stuff, but they're likely fighting cramps at the time. They're in a lot of pain. It's a really agonizing experience.
Oh yeah, dude, it's wild. My brother he won Mr. SMU in like 2019 or 18, I think, and I watched him for like 3 days, like do nothing but eat ground beef. It was disgusting, and he felt like death.
Yeah.
It was bad.
He dropped weight and wasn't eating anything?
I mean, he had to look really cut for like the thing, and you just got to be. Really,
What is it, like a bodybuilding thing?
he has like a bodybuilding competition, and so like I guess the goal was to get like as low body fat as you possibly could, and then like get super tan and like flex.
Both people for the weigh-in right before they go up are going to sit down for a nice IV bag, weighs the same, and then you're both going to go up and you're going to get weighed, and that's it. It's silly that they're like, we want to get this weight class, so we're going to die to do it. We're like crushing our bodies to do it.
Well, Ronnie Coleman, the world's best bodybuilder, he didn't drink at all, but before competitions like the night, or 2 nights before, he would get really drunk on vodka, so he would just be so dehydrated.
Yeah.
And he didn't even normally drink. But
That's so dumb.
Yeah.
Man, humans are weird.
It's you see Ronnie now, and he can barely walk because
he
of all the
can't
back
walk,
surgeries that he's had.
But he's the greatest, and
He
he
is-
won the
he
most.
was.
Remember Jack LaLanne?
Yeah.
That guy was awesome.
Not as good as Ronnie Coleman.
He wasn't Jack LaLanne wasn't a bodybuilder though.
No,
I know,
he was
but
just
I'm
a
just saying,
fitness guy.
Ronnie
He was like,
Coleman-
I'm 90 years old and I can backflip. And
he
you're
was-
like,
he
yeah,
was
let's
awesome.
go.
but he was considerably more healthy than any bodybuilder.
It was always kind of weird to me. Like, wasn't Richard Simmons kind of out of shape?
I think so, yeah. But that was part of his fitness, gimmick that you could be fat and you can move around. It's all about positivity, and so that's why he didn't need to be.
I've been watching Star Trek: The Next Generation again for like my 5th or 6th watch through, and it's just like everybody's super thin in that show. Mm-hmm. Like this is the late 80s.
Yeah.
We had like a roaring economy coming like after the Reagan years, and everybody was very happy, and the economy was a booming.
You know why that was?
Cocaine.
Yeah, because the CIA sold cocaine. Like, we just need to go back to where the CIA just sells cocaine. They should stop trafficking kids.
Ozempic, out of there. Cocaine in.
No cocaine. Now we got Maduro. We got all the crack we need from Venezuela. Like, just CIA. Go back to selling cheap cocaine.
Cocaine, I think you're overstating the amount of cocaine that the CIA sold.
I don't think I am.
They weren't selling
cocaine.
They were not selling cocaine all over the country.
More. They would be less on dating apps.
They were not selling cocaine all over the country. They were selling cocaine.
Me in Arkansas, they were
selling cocaine in certain places, but they weren't like providing the whole country with cocaine.
Sure, Jan. I think they were selling cocaine.
I like to believe the food pyramid
is totally wrong.
No. It was totally right, but they forgot to mention that each pyramid was 10% cocaine.
Yeah.
See, that would be better.
The government was like, here's some bread. What's in it? Trust us. And then you'd eat it and you'd be like, and then you'd just lose all that weight.
If I had a time machine and I had to go back anywhere, it's to when cocaine was in Coca-Cola. Like, I would love to just try that. And if everybody's drinking cocaine-laced Coca-Cola.
But you know that caffeine has near the same physiological effect.
Not if you drink 20 Coca-Colas, I'm sure.
Caffeine and cocaine have very, very similar physiological effects.
I think that's probably true.
It is true. It's absolutely true.
But I think cocaine has more of a euphoric feeling. That's a different.
Caffeine does induce euphoria. People just don't take that much.
Yeah, probably. For real. So yeah, I'm not. I think they are similar. They're like the same analogous.
Bro, we are a nation hopped up on goofballs, bro.
Analogous.
Caffeine is a psychoactive stimulant, and it's in everything. It's in everything. You know why? You know what my theory is as to why they give you a liter of cola when you go to a fast food restaurant?
Why?
You eat this big thing of fries, salt and oil, and then you eat this disgusting burger, which is probably half styrofoam, and your body is like red alert. The captain of your body is like, we're going to die. We need to shut the body down and divert all energy to get this crap through the system. So at the same time, you pump yourself full of caffeine to jolt your brain. I'd imagine if you went to a fast food restaurant and said, let me get a supersized meal with a big fry, you'd pass out. You get the itis. You just and you fall over, you get the meat sweats.
No.
But you drink a liter of cola and crank 300 milligrams of caffeine in your system, and your body is dying, but your brain is like, everything's fine.
Well, you have a coffee company. I mean, I do think, I think it proves that caffeine is probably just as addicting. More people use coffee than cocaine, so it's probably the same freaking thing, basically.
You know what really bums me out is cold brew is so delicious. Mm-hmm. I got some of that. I forgot what the company's called. I don't know.
I don't know. The Western world was created on caffeine and
the Enlightenment
stuff.
But a good cold brew is like dark and chocolatey. You put some heavy cream and your tablespoon of heavy cream. You mix it up, and it tastes so good. But people don't understand this. A cup of coffee has 90 milligrams of caffeine in it, and a cup of cold brew has 350 milligrams of caffeine.
I'm pro stimulant.
Crazy.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So I think it's good. It's good.
You ever see that video of Hitler on a stimulant?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And he's tweaking out.
Everything in moderation, of course. I'm not talking about.
It's funny I'm talking about that. You know who else is on meth? Clavicular, your favorite content creator. He's on meth. He was doing it on.
You love that guy.
I think he's the number one guy right now. He's the top dog. I just, he needs to come on Timcast IRL, but he's trying to stay out of politics. But so.
I think he does steroids too. Not just
I'm about to start doing steroids.
I'm not about that meth life. So
well,
he does steroids
try
and
it
meth.
before
And he
you
doesn't.
knock it.
I got a question for these UFC fighters. If they did meth or coke, would they get in trouble?
John Jones.
Yeah, I think so.
They get tested for that?
Yeah.
I was saying this. I don't know. I think any athlete in the Olympics is going to get tested. So we were having this conversation. Actually, this would be great for the skateboard podcast because I was telling the other pro skateboarders skateboarding is probably the only pro sport, maybe not necessarily, where you can do stimulants and never get caught. Maybe golf. Do they?
Even the X Games, they don't drug test?
I don't think so. Because, bro, all those dudes
would lose
fail.
everybody.
Yeah, the Olympics, yes. The Olympics, yes.
Yeah.
But it's not just that; it's that a bunch of the pro skate contests are they're just unregulated, culture core.
Yeah.
And so I was telling him, like, bro, I'm going to tell you this right now. When you watch that skate contest in like Tampa or whatever, I bet these dudes are just coked out of their minds, bro. Like, I want to win. They go out there. No one's drug testing them. They're doing performance enhancing drugs, PEDs, but they're not doing anything special. They're just blasting coke.
Yeah, I don't think that coke counts as a PED.
But I think
it definitely is.
Tim, I think it's more likely also they would also have to be on downers because they're hurting their shins or hurting their feet. Like, it'd be a strong likelihood they would also take pain pills.
I think, nah. I got whacked in my shin 3 times today, and it hurts. And be a man.
Yeah, but
I mean, nobody's.
You don't take
Aaron Rodgers famously took Percocets to like play football, and you could tell him like in an interview, like in a post game interview, he's clearly very high.
But that's more like painkiller.
Sure.
I mean, if like they're popping ibuprofens, I'd be like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but like you take a sick fall at the X Games, you're a little bit hurt, you need to get back up, you pop a perk, and then you're ready to go for another.
Perk's not going to hit you for 45 minutes anyway.
And perks.
I don't know. I don't pop drugs. So.
You got 3 minutes between runs. You're not taking drugs in your run because you took a slam. And trust me, dude. The skateboarders, when you take a slam, when you fall, and we shouldn't say like any athlete. If you're in the middle of your sport and you fall down and you slam, you're not going like, oh no, I'm so hurt, I need drugs. Bro, I got to be honest, especially if you're on cocaine. You're not going to be like, oh, I hurt my arm.
Is that common in the skate community? Are they doing coke like that?
The best skateboarders in the world, I can't speak for everybody, but let me just tell you this. Skateboarding's largely dead, but I assure you, all the biggest guys in the world, when you watch these videos, I'm like, can you believe this dude just did the greatest trick? And I'm like, oh, wow. And how much coke was he on?
Yeah, okay.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, they are on coke.
Yeah,
they are
some of those
whacked
drops,
out.
I mean, you would have to be a little not sober, but you don't want to be like drunk. So
feeling pretty invincible.
But Adderall,
there's a lot of
they
booze.
probably take Adderall.
Nah, not Adderall.
Well, like,
Adderall's too slow.
Pro baseball players, they used to take beanies back in the day, which is amphetamine salt.
There's a pro skateboarder who takes a beer and just bashes his face over and over again and then does something ridiculous. And I'm just like, he's probably got brain damage.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if you're ripping a bunch of lines, are you worried about damaging your brain?
That's the crazy thing about sports like skateboarding, and it's not just that. There's like BMX, and you know what the funny thing is? I don't think this largely of like skiing and snowboarding, like winter sports, but a lot of action sports. These people are just whacked out of their minds on drugs. Their whole life is, if I do the craziest thing imaginable, I'm going to make more money. Literally, there's a quote. There's an interview in a magazine like 20 years ago I read where the guy said, the thing about skateboarding is that you're tired. You're not really feeling it. And then your boss says, I want you to nose grind this 16-stair handrail and you'll make an extra $20,000 this year. Now, don't worry about the terminology. They're basically saying jump down this flight of stairs when you feel sick and not like you're going to make it. Otherwise, you're not going to make as much money this year. And so you go for it. And I don't want to get too personal, but a friend of mine who was a pro landed a crazy trick that was very dangerous. And the boss said it didn't look good enough. Go back and do it again. When they went back and did it again, they broke their arm and quit. I was like, I'm done.
Wow.
Yep.
Video? I mean, what was it for?
It was for a video, yeah.
Well,
and so I'm telling you, there's a lot of pot smoking because it wipes your brain out.
Yep.
And then so these skateboarders are just like, duh, and then they can do crazy tricks. And then the rest of them are just blasting lines of coke like nobody's business.
Well, not Tony Hawk, though. He's like famous.
I don't think Tony Hawk is a drug kind of guy.
No, he doesn't.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know for sure, but he doesn't come off. You know what he's doing? He's popping Cunol.
What's that?
You don't know about Cunol?
No.
You don't know? He takes turmeric.
Oh,
He's popping turmeric pills, baby.
That's good for
he
your digestion. That's smart.
Bro, Tony Hawk is in his late 50s and he does commercials on Fox News for turmeric.
So you make fun of me for liking
I'm not making fun of
killer.
him.
You watch Fox News unironically, so.
I do. I also watch MS Now. I watch the Young Turks.
Another job.
I watch Kyle Kalinske.
I'm saying the Young Turks is on the internet at least. I mean, that's not.
Fox News is on the internet. What do you mean?
Yeah, but Fox News
Stein,
is boomer news. I mean,
you're
Fox
too old to be watching.
Yes, I know.
Vickler.
No,
You should
I'm
be
not.
watching Fox News.
No,
You're
I'm
boomer
not.
age. Look at you.
No, I'm not. First of all,
Alex Stein
mindset.
is just memeing when he says Clavicular.
and you don't need to, you don't have to be an ageist.
He's just
you know?
memeing.
I don't think he watches Fox News because of the whole big booty Latina thing.
Yeah, I don't watch it. Well, one reason they fired my biological stepfather, Tucker Carlson. So, ever since Tucker's been gone, I've boycotted
Biological
him.
stepfather.
So, yeah, and I just think Fox News kind of sucks overall.
It's a good guy to have as a stepfather.
That's because they want.
He's a pretty influential guy.
I was going to say,
I'm really,
people.
I'm really curious as to what happens with the media industry because we were talking about this the other day. Let me do this again because people are really interested in this cable TV ratings. We did a segment on it. The segment was massive because people. Hold on, let me see if I can pull this one up. It's here we go.
Who has the biggest show? Gutfeld? Who's the biggest show on the network?
On Fox,
I still think it's probably 8 p.m. or the 5.
It used to be Tucker.
Jesse Waters or the 5, I think probably.
Is the personality
So
stuff
Jesse
not the,
took his spot.
Check this out. Check this out.
news show.
Week of February 2nd cable news ratings. Fox is the only network to grow. And the only thing that really matters, well, first I'll say this. Fox News had 2.633 million viewers. 275,000 were in the key demo. Yo, that terrifies me, man.
That's outrageous.
Check this out. Check this out.
It's like 10% of the
They do 175,000 in daytime. This is crazy. MS Now,
But I would argue with the key
134,000.
demo though, Tim, because old people buy more stuff, so it's almost better if you have like
No, this is my point, bro. Boomers are about to turn 80. They're about to die. Like it's called the mortality shelf.
Yeah.
So Fox News is going to cease to exist. There's no way you support the studio for the 5 at those salaries. Jesse Waters, big fan. Appreciate he has been on the show quite a bit. His rumored salary, I don't know if the actual numbers. I think it's $5 million a year or something like that. Ain't no way you're paying him $5 million a year off 275,000 viewers per night. Not happening.
Well, and you're talking about the key demo though. I mean, they're if they have old people watching, they're more likely to buy the products.
Alex, my point is the old people are dying.
Yes.
And when their ratings drop from 2.63 in Cunol commercials down to $225,000 for beer commercials, they're not going to generate enough ad sales to support big studios.
I agree. They are a
building in New York.
dinosaur, and they're gonna get hit by a metaphorical comet any day. I agree.
All of them. I mean, MS Now. I don't even understand how MS Now exists. And rumors are, MS Now's daytime is 75,000.
In the key demo.
Bro, I kid you not. I could launch a brand new podcast on chicken farming with Elaad, who has no experience, and I, who literally have no idea for the most part about chickens, and we'd get more views than MS Now gets in
It'd be
daytime.
interesting because Elaad doesn't know anything about chickens.
To be fair, it would be really funny to hear us BSing the whole time about nonsense and laughing about chickens, and that's more entertaining than MS Now.
I do like eating your chicken's eggs. It's one of the best Timcast perks to working at this company. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I've never had real eggs.
It's true.
Never
Employees
had
at
real
Timcast get first come, first serve eggs from Chicken City.
There's always way too many, too. So
It was funny. I asked my wife the other day. I was like, "Oh, did we get eggs from the store?" And she goes, "No, I couldn't fit it in the bag. I decided just to not get it." And then I had to walk over to the chicken coop and grab some eggs.
A lot of
I will
All right, we're
say
gonna make pancakes.
On this
Chicken
key
farm.
demo stuff, though, this is for advertisements. However, older people vote a lot more than younger people. So they're still getting their message out to some of the most important voters.
I got to stop you right there.
They're going to die soon?
Yes. The mortality shelf is now, which means life expectancy being 79 doesn't mean when you turn 79 you die. It means some people live to 85, 90, 100. Some people die at 70. The expectation right now, as boomers have just hit life expectancy, is that there's a curve from 79 and down where we're going to see a certain amount of death. So if we cut off the portion that's expected, the higher end of the bell curve, that will live beyond 80 years old, as some do, we're looking at, they estimate like 30 million deaths in the next 4 or 5 years from average life expectancy deaths. This is the reality. People die around this age, which means in the next year or so, total viewership, to be fair, when Tucker Carlson was on the air, he was doing 3 to 5 million per night with like 600, 700,000 key demo. Now, that's Tucker Carlson. I get it. When he left, the numbers did go down. But even now, looking at the numbers, they are saying like, well, they're up this month, 12 in the demo. That's good. And that is good. But their total viewership is collapsing while their key demo is going up a little bit. Again, you are not going to sustain CNN, Fox News, or MS Now. And the rumors are that the story broke that with Warner Brothers is talking to Paramount or something like this. And I don't know. I don't even know where CNN is anymore because it's been sold so many times. But CNN is a worthless company. It is worthless. They don't have enough views to actually bring in money. Now, to be fair, technically they do because they're getting, this is apocalypse. Look at this. CNN gets 753,000 total prime time. That's old people. They're doing 142 in the key demo. They're down 16% in the key demo and 9% in total. Daytime, 527,000 total viewers, total.
And that's being on in every airport in the country.
Okay, what you guys need to understand is that 142,000 primetime does not mean 1 hour. It means total.
All night.
The expectation is then in, I think it's 3 or 4 hours, they're doing like 40,000 viewers.
I mean,
That's
they're dying.
crazy.
I'm not surprised at all, really. I mean, I think everybody watches stuff on their phone. They watch short form content.
I'm going to let you guys in on a secret. You guys want to know a secret?
Yeah, what's the secret?
A meeting was held a couple of weeks ago in Florida with big executive figures specifically to discuss how they enter this space. So we've heard quite a bit after the election that they needed their own Joe Rogan on the left, and there were concerns that older people are voters and they have this big block, but they're now recognizing that they've got only a couple years left where they can still sell ads to old people who have money. So there was a meeting that took place with a bunch of executives who intentionally met just to talk to each other about how they solve this problem. So here's what you can expect. Big shows like, let's just go with Joe Rogan. He's the king of the castle, right? Mm-hmm. Don't be surprised if, and I'm not saying there's anything I know about this. I'm not saying Joe would actually do this. I'm just saying I would not be surprised if a year from now we find out that like Comcast bought the Joe Rogan Experience. And they're like now airing on NBC at 9 p.m.
They wish they could, but I mean, the fact that it shows 3 hours, though, how are they going to do that?
They put the first hour on live, and then they say the last 2 hours are exclusive at NBC Plus.
Yeah, I mean, they could do it that way.
And they've already got Bill Maher on Paramount. I think he's on Paramount, right?
I think.
No, he's on Max. Duh, he's on HBO.
The podcast that he does in his basement?
No, Real Time.
Oh, well, I know that's HBO, but I think his podcast is independent, I thought.
Yeah, it's his own company. Again, I would not be surprised if these big companies start to, well, actually, I will say this. Like Jimmy Kimmel, we all make fun of his ratings being bad. He gets a lot of play on YouTube, but these are just clips. They need long form. And so I have my speculation right now is to consider, not that I know what's going to happen. Jimmy Kimmel might get a banger of an opening 10-minute, but that's not going to compete with the longer form stuff that you see from the likes of Rogan and the podcast space, where they've done these massive $100 million deals with like Travis Kelce and like Call Her Daddy, which means they're going to need a show that is conversational long form style for their premium platforms. And it's not going to be Jimmy Kimmel. I wouldn't, considering the TV model of the 9 p.m. live is basically out and primetime is dying. No one's really watching these live kind of shows. Like, the question is, does Timcast IRL need to be live? Most of the people who watch afterwards as VOD. So we just are live because it's convenient for people they want to hang out. But I think what we'll end up seeing is, or I should say this, I would not be surprised if, take a look at any one of these big lefty podcasts, if they buy them and then put them on the air.
You think what's his name?
In 20 years, Hassan will be on MSNBC. Yeah.
Brian Taylor Cohen or something like that.
Brian Taylor Cohen. And it's going to be conversational, long form, hour long with probably not commercial breaks. Probably it's going to be you're going to be watching quote unquote TV, but TV's dead. They're just going to have Netflix is already doing this. What am I even talking about? Have you guys gone to Netflix recently? They have a podcast section now, and they bought a bunch of podcasts. And to be honest,
anybody worth naming?
Nobody you've heard of.
Okay.
And so I say this. I pay attention to all of the media industry. I run a business, so I'm constantly tracking trends, ad rates, all that stuff. And I go on Netflix and I look at their podcasts and I'm like, I've not heard of any one of these guys. But it makes sense because the strategy has always been like this. Let me tell you the urban legend of Green Day. You guys want to hear the urban legend of Green Day?
Sure.
The urban legend goes like this. And actually, Phil, you can probably attest to this better than I could. The label, I can't remember which label they were signed to, signed 15 bands that were identical to Green Day. It was the pop punk era. It was the late 80s, early 90s. And they said, look at these bands that are popping up and getting a lot of attention playing pop punk. Sign them all. Then, whichever one makes it to the top of the mountain, we blast them off and we do the bigger deal with them and we promote them. And so the general idea was, instead of looking for big established artists and doing massive contracts, sign a bunch of tiny artists at dirt deals and then try and find which one is the diamond in the rough that you can turn into a big prize. And Green Day had a smashing hit with Dookie, and what was after Dookie?
After Dookie, I don't know which one.
I don't know. Anyway, you get the point. Like Green Day nailed it. They took off, and so the labels were like, okay, all these other little ones were worthless. We didn't care. The strategy is likely going to be the same. The big networks don't care about shows like ours because we're established and make a lot of money. Why bother? Right now is the opportunity to buy 10 small podcasts and then give a little light sprinkling of marketing, see which one bubbles up a little bit, and then dump your marketing budget into them, and then you own 100% of it.
I feel like they're already doing that, giving out record deals. I mean,
They've done that for ages with record deals.
Right. So, that's the play. You sign a bunch of small dirt artists for cheap, and then whichever one takes off is your moneymaker, and you own everything. Like I think we were talking about this, Phil. I think the story with Paramore was that Hayley Williams signed a 360 deal for 20 years.
Yep.
That I don't know full details, but this meant that literally anything she ever did was owned by the label for 20 years.
Yeah, 360 means they get a piece of the merch, they get a piece of the they get publishing, they get ownership of all the music, basically anything that artist does for however long the term of the contract.
20 years. It's like, you want to be famous? Okay, we get 20 years of everything.
But she does get 20 years of consistent pay no matter.
Well, they
but not when she's smashing it and doing stadiums, making millions of dollars, and she's only getting paid hundreds of thousands.
The way they talk about it is they say, well, we like to sign artists for the life of the artist.
Right.
Yeah. If they can get you for 20 years for 10 records, they'll do that because from the label's perspective, they're like, well, we don't know if you're actually going to be famous. We don't know if you're actually going to write stuff that's good. So we'll sign you and we'll put this money into you. So we want to make sure that we have your catalog and have you on long enough to actually.
You know how evil these people are? Michael Jackson was innocent.
Tell me about it.
He was framed 100%. Even, Wade Robinson and James Safechuck, the two people that said that they were molested in the documentary. One, Wade Robinson was his lead character witness in not one case, but 2 court cases where Michael Jackson was, totally exonerated, never charged, investigated for 19 years. And that's what they said. That's the reason why Conrad Murray killed him, because Sony wanted to get all of his originals because he had like the largest personal collection. He had the Beatles. He owned the Beatles. So it's just very suspicious. These labels will literally kill their artists.
Michael Jackson bought Paul McCartney's.
He bought the whole all the Beatles and the Beatles.
Yeah. I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. I'm just a little bit surprised hearing this come from you because I feel like you'd be able to work a lot of.
No, Michael Jackson was innocent, and even the one settlement he paid to Jordy Chandler, they were going to fight it, but it was just easier to pay him because there was no criminal charge with it. So it was just easier to pay the guy and make him go away. And on top of that, Jordy Chandler's stepdad, who was the one that kind of motivated Jordy to say all this, ended up dying under mysterious circumstances, like did a suicide and quit his job as a dentist, like totally spiraled out. But if you just look at Wade Robinson, that's the guy that was in the, the key guy in the documentary Leaving Neverland. Literally, he dated Michael Jackson's cousin. After his death, was at his funeral, like loved the guy, defended him in multiple court cases. And then all of a sudden he's dead. He's like, oh yeah, he molested me trying to get.
There were some weird circumstances surrounding Michael Jackson though, despite.
Well, Macaulay Culkin and, Corey Feldman both slept at his house with him and said nothing weird happened. I do believe that he was a little bizarre. They Arrested Development, but I wouldn't know what it's like to be like a superstar celebrity at 5.
Sure, but if Epstein were to do those things and just I had some people sleep over my house.
Epstein was guilty.
Totally different.
Michael Jackson was not. They're just because Michael Jackson was investigated by the FBI. He never went to jail. Yeah. So if there was any evidence that could have nailed him, I think they would have nailed him. So Michael Jackson was innocent.
And now
it's very likely that Michael Jackson was innocent, like didn't do anything.
Now what about R. Kelly?
Oh no, he urinated.
Yeah,
he's
guilty.
That. Yeah.
Oh,
you didn't see the tape?
No, I thought.
Have you never seen him?
No, I didn't watch it.
Well, I have it on my phone if you want to watch it.
You have it on your phone.
I'm a big R. Kelly fan.
Wait, she was an underage child.
No, she wasn't. I don't think. Well, I don't have it on my phone. That's a joke.
This guy.
Was she underage in that? The girl in the video?
I don't know.
I don't
just say,
think
add
she was
allegedly.
like
Well, otherwise,
She was?
wait, what would be illegal about it then if she wasn't underage?
Oh, I guess maybe she was. Well, maybe I haven't seen the video, but I could have sworn I've seen that video. But maybe.
Good thing you don't really
that's a
have it on your
disgusting
phone,
thing
then.
to do.
I don't really have that on my phone. Oh my gosh, that is a bad joke. Well, I thought he just peed on a woman of age. I forgot that it was a child.
I understand it correctly. It was an underage person.
It was an underage person?
I think so. I think it was like 17.
Okay, well, I've not seen it. I was just making a bad joke, but I didn't.
Maybe
Obviously,
you have more in common with Epstein than you thought.
He did pee on somebody. No,
you both have this type of
you're
content
the one
on your
that's
phone.
defending Epstein. See, I don't understand. That's the hill you want to die on. Like, I get,
What do you mean
I
by
guess
defending him? No, I
You're
just think
like,
there's a.
it doesn't seem like it's like that connected. It doesn't seem like there's that much information to really connect them. Like, we don't see anybody that's guilty. Like, you had to have heard yourself.
There's way more evidence incriminating Epstein than there was.
No, I think you overpromise on a lot of the Epstein stuff to make it more salacious, to make it sound like a more sexy thing. No, it's salacious enough. I think it's salacious enough, but I think you need to go through. I don't think they're eating children.
You don't think that?
I don't think that, and I don't think there's much evidence of that
either. You
either.
don't think cannibalism exists?
I do think cannibalism exists. I don't think there's evidence of him doing that. But when you start tacking on
hyperbolic,
when you start tacking on all this extra bullshit, it really muddies the water of the legitimate.
Why are you personally? Even if people said that he's an astronaut, why do you even care? Like, it's weird that you get butthurt
because it muddies the water of the legitimate story. There's a legitimate story to be had here. But no, you want to tack on a bunch of extra random bullshit to make it sound more salacious. That's the issue here.
Jeffrey Epstein. I think it's so bizarre.
I want to protect Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, dude, you're on his side.
He admitted it. He admitted it. I heard that.
In this argument, you have been defending him, dude. You sound like such a shill. It's ridiculous. You're like literally.
No. I want evidence. I want evidence-based accusations. You don't care about any evidence. You'll accuse anybody of anything.
There's 3 million.
Just because they're emailing about jerky doesn't mean they're eating children. It doesn't make sense.
The Prime Minister. He's with the most important people in the world, and they're sending odds.
Therefore, they're eating children.
I would say that they probably worship the devil, a lot of these people that are in high, powerful positions like that, yes. And I would think that they do satanic rituals. Dude, so have you ever heard of, like, Skull and Bones? Yeah. They went and what did they go do?
That proves it.
They went and stole Geronimo's skull. I'm saying, so what they do is they do weird stuff with bones and bodies. I know that you can't understand that.
No, I believe.
You're too young. You don't get that these people are actually evil. And they do weird rituals. There's a guy named Aleister Crowley. You should look him up. A famous occultist. And people would go to Hollywood parties where they would literally do spirit cooking. You looked up Marina Abramovich. You know who Marina Abramovich is?
No, tell me.
She's a famous spirit cooker. And part of her art is doing spirit cooking where they get blood and piss and semen and they write words on the wall and they summon devils. And she's been on Microsoft commercials.
Do they actually summon devils, or they try to?
They try to. I would argue that if God is real, which I do believe, then there are evil spirits. So the devil's real.
I want to. Before we go to Super Chats, I want to ask you about this. So, Kalshi's got this thing. We were talking about this earlier with the aliens. Will the U.S. confirm that aliens exist before 2027? And right now, yes, at 17 cents. So if I vote no and I put in $100,000, I will make $19,000 this year.
20 grand.
Might be a good time to get in with all the hype around these aliens.
What do you think?
Put 1,000 just right now, just for fun.
Just put $1,000. I'll get $191 at the end of the year.
$200.
Those are better margins than my bank. Do you think they're going to say yes?
You fade it. You say no. You fade it.
If you say. All right, we're going to go to your Rumble rants and Super Chats, so smash the like button. Share the show with every person you've ever met in your life, if you do appreciate the work we do. And go to timcast.com and click Join Us to get in the Discord community. Guys, community is our strength, and if you go to timcast.com and join, there's pre-shows, after-shows, and as a Timcast Discord member, you can call into the show Monday through Thursday at 10 p.m. for the uncensored Rumble Premium version. You can call in and talk to us and our guest, which is going to happen tonight at 10 p.m. for the uncensored portion. So do it if you believe in what we do. But for now, let's grab your Rumble rants and Super Chats. Lee G. Tet says, it says legit. Legit ET, is that what it's supposed to say? Yeah. What do you cam a magician, I think he means call, who has lost all his magic? Answer, Ian.
Oh, Ian's not even here to defend himself. Come on, man.
J-Dev says, Masad Elaad, shush, we are onto the elites and their satanic ring of evil.
Go get him, guys. Go get him. You see, I think these people won't be satisfied until, like, what bullshit you put out in the ether about the Epstein files is true. So
I just don't know what your motivation is to defend him at all. Like, I mean,
I'm not defending him. I just think we should have.
You are defending him. I mean, that's what it looks like. You're defending him. I mean,
I think we should have like facts and evidence for things before we go out with
pieces of evidence.
Did you see the email where Jeffrey Epstein admitted that he was an alien from?
Did you see the video that they watched torture porn?
Dude, did you hear the 30 emails?
Subject? Why you changing? Why are you changing the subject?
Because the aliens.
That's really weird. Whoa! Why are you defending Epstein?
Why did they? I'm not defending Epstein.
What do you mean? What do you mean? They're doing these emails.
Listen,
they're doing emails where they're saying they're aliens, and you're dismissing it because I think you're covering up for aliens.
You know, he's emailing these Saudi Arabian guys saying, "Oh, did you like the torture video? Do you think that was?" What do you?
I mean, I'm not surprised that they watch a lot of torture videos.
What do you mean? He's watching snuff porn.
Yeah, like a ton of it on the internet. But here's the thing: like, I don't think any reasonable person reading those jerky emails any rational person could come to the conclusion that he's talking about eating kids. But the fact that you're willing to rant and rave about that.
Now I'll address the point that you made. I don't think any rational person would come to the conclusion they're talking about eating jerky either.
Okay, fair. But I don't think there's any evidence of them eating children.
That was my point.
That
was my point.
Sure. Yeah.
That you're jumping the gun to claim children. Maybe it's people we don't know, but they're certainly not talking about beef jerky. That's weird.
It just split the difference. Just humans.
Well, we don't know humans either. We just know it's not jerky because that's weird. And it would be, and that's the joke. It would be funny if they were actually making jerky because it's hard to believe.
Dude, I think there's a lot of emails, and there's a chance he was talking about jerky. Is that that's not to say that he wasn't a pedophile and Ghislaine Maxwell didn't, procure young women for him to sexually assault, and that he wasn't convicted in 2008 and got a plea deal in Florida. That doesn't mean he wasn't involved with a lot of famous people after the fact who were willing to work with him after he was found out to be a pedophile. But all this extra stuff really dilutes the real story, and it's a crazy witch hunt.
Let's read some more. Let's read some more. We got this from
Until you bitch about
Okay,
Steve Bannon.
Elaad. Okay, we got this from NNY. Pam Bondi at hearing. Yasmin Gold was right. Better than even odds, you can go to a random ASU sorority party, find some entitled, arrogant, drunk blonde, and she would be smarter than Bondi. Well, that's hyperbolic but funny. What I would say is Pam Bondi is not doing her job very well. That's the academic way to put it.
Doesn't she have great pedigree on paper?
I mean, that's academic.
I'm being academic.
I mean, dude, she's literally retarded. I mean, and she was at the AG of Florida when Epstein got the sweetheart deal. So it seems like, she's guilty of something. I don't know what. I mean, if you accuse her of a crime, she'll get really mad. But she doesn't care about getting more transparency when all this comes out, because you're going to find out more information that she was connected to Epstein all the way back in the Florida days. So she's been abysmal at her job, and she's been really an
All right, here we go. This is for you, Alex. Van Ruiz says, Alex, what do you think the odds are that the jerky mentioned could possibly be placenta made into jerky? Ooh. I bet 100%. Also, keep saving those big booty Latinas. AOC wants you.
I'll never stop.
You guys know about how they do the rich people hire young guys to give them their blood?
Yeah. Blood boys.
Blood boys.
No,
Silicon Valley.
You
never heard of Blood Boys?
No.
It's very common. Wealthy Silicon Valley dudes, they hire young men, like 18, 19-year-olds, to be bodybuilders and to eat specific diets. So they have really good, healthy bodies.
You can't do drugs.
And then, you can't do drugs, and you got to eat a specific diet, like vegetables and protein, no sugars, and then they do a blood transfusion with you.
Wow.
So that the old guy gets the fresh young man's blood. And here's the truth. Young person's blood does rejuvenate old people's organs. Legit.
Yeah, it does.
So, these older guys will get a blood transfusion from a young guy. Their organs are actually, de-aging.
Fascinating.
This is a fact that they do this. So, when you get these wackaloons being, in the media claiming that the conspiracy theories are fake, how you thought I was going the other way. The media is it's not true. The conspiracy theories about rich people eating babies or whatever. No, hold on. We know they have blood boys. They admit that openly. You think they're not doing anything else? Mm-hmm. Bro, look at that. With all due respect, the only weirdo guy who wants to live forever that I respect is Brian Johnson. Because at least he's just I'm just eating food and doing weird stuff and taking the blood from my son. He's not hiring anybody to do it.
Well, if you take it from anybody, I think
that's what he's doing,
that's
right?
Fair game, yeah. But there are benefits to it, and these people even take it further. Though they actually believe that the blood has anti-aging benefits.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All kinds of stuff with it.
Brian Johnson has discontinued using his then 17-year-old son's plasma for anti-aging. He got too old.
Well, the younger the blood, the more potent it is for your organs. That is
legit.
Fact too.
Brian Johnson, the guy who wants to live forever, was taking his own son's blood.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just imagining his son hooked up to a Brian Johnson's all ripped and glistening, and his son has a tube coming from his arm, and he's wasting away Father, please.
Well, the kid's fine actually because you just rejuvenate the blood, so it's really not that big a deal.
Yeah, but there's only a finite amount of cellular division that could happen. So I imagine if you're taking someone's blood, you're actually hurting them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you would say their telomeres are a little shortened, but theoretically, if you're super healthy, I don't think it would lessen your lifespan that much to give somebody blood.
I don't think that makes sense though.
You don't think? Well, people give blood all the time. They donate blood all the time. Pints
Indeed.
Of blood.
And I have to imagine that it's deleterious.
I would agree. Actually, I would agree. Because even when I get blood for a blood test, I'm like, this seems like a lot of blood.
Your body has to do work. Cells have to replicate. And there's a finite amount of cellular replication that your body can engage in. So giving away your blood probably shortens your lifespan.
Yeah, probably just not that much.
Right.
Depending on the factors of how you take care of yourself.
Indeed. All right, what have we here? Lewis Unlimited says they're eating human placenta from their baby farm. My wife didn't want hers, so I cooked it up. Tastes like jerky, texture and all.
See, that's a cannibal. In the chat. Guilty.
If you are interested, giving blood too often does not shorten your lifespan.
Whoa, that's what it is.
Even be associated with longer life expectancy.
Google AI says human placenta can be prepared to look and taste similar to jerky, and it is a known method of consumption. It's called placentophagy. It is actually a known thing that some people do. Bro, that's probably what they were doing.
Got a lot of stem cells in it, right?
Yeah, that's part of it.
That's what they were doing, bro.
They like stem cells. And, you know, that you were joking about Ellen DeGeneres, does she eat people? There's actually a famous video where they're talking about how she's with who's the famous actress that was from, what's the movie with the bus where the bus gets taken? Speed.
Yes.
What's that actress name?
Sandra Bullock.
She said that she rubs baby penis on her face.
That's true, though.
Yeah.
They make that cream.
So if you're going to rub the foreskins of a baby's penis on your face, you don't think that they would put it in their mouth?
I think I found another one.
How is that?
Hey, wait, hold on. We got one. I think I found something.
What'd you find?
There's an email that says, "Hey Jeff, I'm staying in New York for a while in good rhythm with Torah, working and eating healthy. I started making those smoothie drink recipes your friend sent me, really good. Another common form of placenta consumption is to dehydrate it and blend it into smoothies.
Oh, boy.
That's what Google says. I'm not even playing. Google says it's more commonly dehydrated, ground into powder, and blended into smoothies. Legit. That's what it says.
Could these just be dumb everyday emails about him talking to his peers about like smoothie?
If it's placenta, it's actually significantly less nefarious than children.
But there's no reference of the placenta here.
Yeah, it's
and he has millions of emails. And
what would you like me to bring from New York? A smoothie. That's right. I'm in New York. I'm going to fly on your jet and bring a strawberry smoothie.
Doesn't make sense. It would melt.
Yo, there are a bunch of smoothie.
But yeah, like why would you think that a placenta would actually be nefarious?
Bro, what is this smoothies got so curious about them? Wait, what?
You know, circumstances or something. You know, maybe it wasn't just like a loving family doing the placenta for the dad or whatever. Like,
I don't think that eating the placenta
it could be from I'm just saying. I said this earlier. There are instances where Planned Parenthood employees have stolen baby.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you're also like if you got a baby that's aborted, the placenta's still really small. Right, like the placenta.
I don't know. I'm not the same.
The same person who was emailing about jerky was emailing about smoothies too.
There you go.
There you go.
Well,
I guess it's settled. We're eating children through jerky, and we're eating.
It is a weird combination,
bro.
Because
Elaad, it literally is on Google AI. I am not making anything up. Human placenta can be prepared to look and taste like jerky. It's placentophagy, alternative preparation rather than jerky. It's more commonly dehydrated, ground into powder, and put into capsules or blended into smoothies. Yeah, and the same people who are talking about eating jerky are talking about making smoothies as well and flying them from New York to the island, which makes no sense. Now, I'm not saying that's literally what's happening, but this is a preponderance of evidence, meaning it's worth investigating. Is that the case? Because why would you fly a smoothie from New York to the island? We're not talking about Justin Hammer from Iron Man, where he's sitting in the hangar being like my dessert. I like my dessert first. I flew it in. It's Italian. That's not normal. People don't really do that. Jeffrey Epstein didn't have a lady make a smoothie with strawberries and bananas, put it in a cooler, surrounded by a dry ice, and fly to the island so he can enjoy it. He could literally just buy that stuff and put it in his freezer there. This was something else. I'm not saying it's placentas or babies, but it's worth looking into. They're using codes in their emails because what sane person thinks the people are literally having this much beef
Tim,
jerky?
I agree with you. These emails are odd. However, I don't think this is evidence of them eating babies. And I think
who said that?
You just said
earlier. That's what Alex Stein was saying.
Elaad, I'm going to stop you right now. I'm going to stop you right now because my point is that Google is talking about in placentophagy. People do this, and you challenged my claim. Not what he was saying about eating babies. I'm saying, interesting, Google is talking about how people who eat placenta make jerky and smoothies, and I went to Jeffrey Epstein's emails, and there are emails about people flying smoothies from New York to the island. And I said, that's weird.
Do you want to look
and
up
you're like, no.
placenta in the emails? Do you want to see if there's
your name to L?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you took a big L tonight. Elaad, you took.
Well, Alex Stein, I'm frankly surprised that you don't think Erica Kirk's involved in the Charlie Kirk shooting.
Why are you changing the subject, first of all? And why do you find it
intolerance?
I'm making fun of you guys. I'm making fun of you, Alex. That's what's happening here.
Because I don't think Erica
I think that it's funny that's where you draw the line as far as conspiracy theories go. Talking about jerky in these emails, it definitely means that Jeffrey Epstein and his buddies are eating children.
I don't know why you're trying to bring Erica Kirk into this. I think that's bizarre.
I'm making fun of you. I'm saying the line you're drawing for
conspiracy
theories.
Going back to other stuff.
You're the Jeffrey Epstein pedophile apologist, and you won't admit it.
You think I'm a pedophile apologist
Yes,
because I don't believe that the jerky references are
trying
talking
to-
about children.
I think that you're
No, I
trying
think
to
it's
make Jeffrey
specific.
Epstein look better than he really is. And
No,
don't know
I
why.
think you use baseless accusations to make
I
up
don't think
BS
they're
for
baseless.
sensationalist BS.
I don't think they're baseless. So that's my.
All right, guys, we're going to grab some more chats. We're going to grab some more. We can go to the uncensored show. You guys can yell at each other there. All right, let's see what we got going up here. We got somebody, what's this say? Based African says, glad the hearings are finally being discussed here. It's been big news for a week, and I was worried y'all would pass on it. Bondi's pattering was unacceptable. Only explanation is that the admin is lying for some reason, be it malicious or for foreign affairs. Did you guys see that one dude who's like, Trump's doing 4D chess, where he's purposefully antagonizing the Epstein people to make everybody talk about it? And I'm like, yeah, I think that's more accidental. I don't think Trump is intentionally trying to goad people into talking about Epstein files.
Come on, it's 4D chess, man.
5D.
Well, I mean, the Dow's
beyond
up,
time.
so I don't know why we are even talking about it. I think we just need to worry about our portfolios. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm in the Pam
Can't
Bondi
wait.
camp.
Personally, I can't wait till the after show to listen to Elaad yell.
Us fight.
Hopefully we'll get into Steve Bannon's emails.
Okay. I love that you want to talk about Steve Bannon. I don't think Steve Bannon's great that he was hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein, but in those emails that I've read, it doesn't seem like they're talking about jerky. It doesn't seem like they're talking about child porn. So to me, it seems like he was trying to rehabilitate his career.
Yeah, how come there's
He's
nothing?
trying to rehabilitate
Elaad,
a
okay, how come
pedophile's
there's
career. It looks like
nothing?
that. I don't agree
How come
with
there's
it, but that's
nothing in the
what they're
emails
trying to
about
do.
hiring child prostitutes?
Well, I think there is
good
some weird
question.
stuff about like.
No.
Why, Tim? I'll tell you why, because they're using
How
euphemism.
about you stop and let me finish my point? There are emails that are euphemistic. There are also euphemistic emails about jerky and smoothies. The point is, they don't explicitly say, hey, they're hiring child prostitutes.
Okay.
The point is, all of it is coded.
I would agree.
Okay.
I don't
what's
think
your point?
you know what is or isn't coded, and I'll tell you why they didn't mention children
You're right.
in any of these emails. Why? Because they mentioned jerky instead. So all these mentions of jerky are obviously talking about children.
That's what
why.
you really think?
No, I'm making fun of you guys.
How you're making fun of me?
Because I think it's ridiculous. I think these accusations of smoothies
Well, why are
and
you so
jerkies
why are you
implicated-
so like
Oh,
I
you're
don't-
getting.
you-
I'm
you're getting
hold on.
so like you're getting
Let me
so
lay
triggered
down
about
like
it.
this.
Seems
Let
like
me-
you're guilty.
Okay. Hold on. Important point. I don't agree that the jerky means they're eating people or children. We don't know what it means. Elaad, you are getting very, very angry, and you have been the whole time angry over people wanting the Epstein files released.
Which is weird.
The whole time. And you've been like, Trump's right. This is a distraction. We shouldn't talk about it. And now I can say this. A rational person looks at Epstein's conversation around jerky and says, that is not about jerky. I don't know what it is. And then you go, I'm going to make fun of you for asking that question.
I already said that I think a lot of these
And
emails
why
are very
did you
odd.
say I'm making fun of you for thinking that?
Because you guys are ascribing crazy things to
What
a
did
lot.
No. Stop,
see.
Elad.
Because I don't
Seriously?
think I'm
Stop.
telling you explicitly.
No.
I'll answer
Hold
your
on.
question.
No.
Why wouldn't
I
you let me
have
respond?
never stated that they're eating children.
Okay.
So stop
but
saying
eating
to me
placentas
that I said
through
it.
smoothies through this
When did I
smoothie
say
reference
that?
that you,
When did I say that?
Didn't you bring up how the placenta?
I said Google pointed out that people pulverize placentas into smoothies, and then you look at his conversations around smoothies, and a sane person says regular people don't talk about it like that. You keep going overboard. This is what we see often with woke. You take the point I'm making, exaggerate it, and then throw it back like it's not possible. Overly defensive. A rational person looks at Epstein's emails and says, they are not speaking plainly. Something else is going on. When the Pizzagate emails came out and they said, is it more fun playing dominoes on pizza or on pasta? Everyone went, they're clearly not talking about either of those three things. But we don't know what they are talking about. Now, the conspiracy theorists said they're talking about doing drugs with children, like banging children, which is an exaggeration. We don't know exactly what they meant. You're taking the other extreme end of everyone's crazy. How dare you even bring it up?
Okay.
That's not rational.
Can I respond?
That's irrational.
Okay, so I think people who are digging through these emails are unreliable narrators, and these people are just picking and choosing based on whatever preconceived conspiracies that they have to read into these emails specifically. That's the big issue with them. So I'm making fun of Alex Stein, what he says,
Why
when
do you
he's
get so
reading
triggered?
into,
Okay, why do
when
you
he's
get so
reading into
triggered?
children being
And that's
eaten
fine.
by
Go
seeing jerky
But
emails.
And my-
he's not the
okay,
wait,
Alex,
if I can
hold on.
finish. If
But
I
why
can
is
finish.
You made your
getting so
point.
triggered,
I'm not
though?
done.
You're gish galloping.
No, I'm not gish galloping.
Yes, you are absolutely.
All right,
Alex,
so you're not
please.
going to let me finish my point.
You're getting. I'm not.
Okay, good.
Because you're making 15 at once. Okay, you're gish galloping. Okay, you want to say one thing? Alex Stein exaggerated the point and has no evidence to his claim. Point done. One sentence. Okay, when you say 15 things after the fact and don't let anybody respond, you're gish galloping.
I feel like I've given you ample opportunity to respond. You still haven't let me
Won't
finish.
stop talking.
Tim,
Make a single.
I've said a
you've
few
made a
sentences.
single point. Make one point right now. One. And then
these
stop
people
talking.
are unreliable narrators and reading into the Epstein files.
And stop.
Okay.
What's your
Here's
point?
my point.
Well, why are
These
you
are
so
unreliable
triggered? Answer that
narrators
question.
making
Okay.
shit up to try to tar and feather their political opponents.
And now
that's all that's happening.
We'll go
here.
back to,
Okay.
do you think a rational person reads that conversation of Jerky and says that's a normal conversation?
No, but I also think a rational person doesn't read that conversation and says, "Oh, there's a child-eating pedophile
And
sex
I'm
ring
not
as a
talking
result of
about
these."
that.
Okay, well, I was
I am.
directing.
So you-
All right, well,
man.
Alex is, so I'm
Okay,
directing
we
this
get
to
it.
Alex. Good.
You are taking an extreme position against Alex's extreme position. You are being irrational. I've already said.
Hey, what was
Alex,
my extreme position? Tell me.
I have already said that Alex is reading too much into it. Okay.
What was my extreme position?
I'm making fun of you.
That is not a big deal.
I'm making
That
fun
is-
of
you know,
you,
we're looking
Tim,
into it too
for
much.
asking a question about why they're talking about flying a smoothie from New York to their island. You got mad about that.
I think-
that is irrational.
Weird.
Okay, I think I
A
explained my
regular
position.
person will go, why was he asking them to fly smoothies from New York to his island? What is that? That's weird.
Sure.
Bro, I fly on private jets all the time. We don't say, hey, get a bunch of smoothies and put them in the cooler and bring them on the jet. That's the stupidest thing imaginable. You're going to be in the jet for 40 minutes to an hour. It's going to melt and be worthless. Unless you're talking about giving them out and eating them. But he's on an island asking them to ferry something to him. So it's fair to say they are talking about many things in these emails that are not what they're actually talking about.
I've submitted to you that there are already many odd emails in Jeffrey
Indeed.
Epstein's files.
And you
Yes,
seem
for the
to be
third time.
getting irrationally defensive when people bring up the Epstein files, and you have even before these emails came out.
Well, I'm trying to explain to you that this is all political theatrics. Again, these people who are talking about these files, for the most part, are unreliable
Mine
narrators
isn't.
and trying to tar and feather their political opponents.
Wait,
Okay,
how
wait,
is
can I
this-
finish,
wait, real
please?
quick, how is
That's
this
why some
political
people.
theatrics?
All right, so I can't finish my
No,
point.
but how
No,
is it
because
political
you keep
theatrics?
gish galloping.
There's people on both sides.
I've barely
that are
gotten a word in our
implicated.
conversation. I'm not gish galloping at all.
I think-
Half of the people talking about these files are talking about how Trump is allegedly a pedophile. Thomas Massey is coming out in these files alleging people who aren't involved in anything of being pedophiles, and people are reading through these files. Who?
So you made 3 points.
Yes.
And again, you can say Thomas Massey made what claim?
He alleged like 4 people who weren't pedophiles were involved in Jeffrey Epstein's affairs. I could read to you the names, but this is widely reported. I'd need to pull up the news article.
Right. So the issue I take specifically with you, and before we're about to go to the uncensored portion, is I am largely neutral on this. In that I have been the whole time. I've argued that Trump's concerns over the recent release of the Epstein files is that it's going to embarrass people who didn't commit crimes but did things that were untoward, or there's going to be people who are Saudi where in their country they're allowed to have sex with 15-year-old girls, and that's going to get them screwed over seriously in the United States, which has actually happened now. We're seeing, I think it was a Qatari or a Saudi, I'm not sure, had to resign from a position or something because they can't work in the U.S. with these allegations. I have never been on the jerky must mean people, and I've argued against the pizza means boy and pasta means girls because I know for a fact that was fabricated. However,
So maybe you're arguing with the
Epstein
wrong person.
files should be released. Trump should not have called it a hoax. Pam Bondi has done a terrible job of this. Dan and Cash have flubbed this miserably as well. And now we're getting more evidence. Videos and pictures of children, little girls in bathtubs. They're censored, but you can still tell it's a little girl in a bathtub that Epstein had for some reason. Clearly, they have child abuse materials. We now know that when they were like, no, there's no evidence that Epstein was trafficking to anyone else and Ghislaine was trafficking to Epstein. We now know between these conversations that is likely a high degree of probability not true. People talking about going to parties. Noam Chomsky saying, I want $500,000 for my marriage trust. And they were like, did you mean 50 or 500? He goes, I mean 500. What did Noam Chomsky do for Epstein on that island that warranted him getting a payment of $500,000? It's all very weird stuff. They are not doing normal things normal people do. And Trump was trying to cover it up for whatever reason, calling it a hoax. And my point for you, and we're going to go to the uncensored portion, again, I know we got to go, is that the whole time we've argued this, you said Massey is wrong and it's a distraction and it's bad faith. And I'm like, why was Noam Chomsky saying I'm fantasizing about going on your island and you should give me $500,000? Why was Reid Hoffman saying I'm going to these parties? Why were they saying torture videos? Why are they talking about getting young girls, the naughty little ones?
Why wouldn't you
Don't
name
forget
any
about
right-wing
Ghislaine
person
Maxwell's
who's
dad,
allegedly
Robert
implicated,
Maxwell.
though? See, for example, all the
Bannon?
people... You haven't named him, though.
We talked about him on the show all last week. I brought it up several times.
And the people that you just named, Reid Hoffman, Noam Chomsky, my point is that when people are talking about these files, they're not talking about the whole of them. They're just using it to tar and feather their political opponents. Literally everybody who's talking about it. Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna. Both of these people are not talking about it in
the
their
Epstein
entirety.
files?
No, the way that they
Name a right-wing person in the Epstein files you're concerned about.
Steve Bannon.
Steve Bannon's not implicated in
Howard
the Epstein
Lutnick.
files. Steve Bannon's not implicated in the Epstein files for being trafficking children.
Sure, but he is implicated for being friends with a convicted pedophile post 2008, which is the same thing that Pritzker's cousin did. He was only talking allegedly with Epstein post 2008, and he was still forced to resign from his company.
I cited the people who were presumed to be involved in trafficking.
There was an evidence of Lutnick.
This is a bad faith. This is bad faith.
No, it isn't.
I don't know why.
You're an unreliable narrator.
People who are willing to talk and be friends with.
You're an unreliable narrator. When I point out, when I point out that there are people that were talking in ways that sound like they're getting young girls and asking for large sums of money in weird ways, you immediately defer to, but what about Bannon's documentary? You're a bad faith actor.
I think you're being bad faith.
What about Bannon's documentary? What does Bannon's documentary have to do with a guy saying, I fantasize about being on your island?
I think it's disgusting when people are trying to rehabilitate a convicted pedophile, but it seems like you guys don't seem to give that much.
That is
well,
bad,
you guys seem to
but
focus
they're
on
not talking
Howard
in
Lutnick,
coded
for example,
language,
also
because they're
went to
not talking in coded language about creepy stuff.
No, yes, they are. You haven't read his emails. He
I've
has
read
thousands of
every single
emails
one.
with Bannon. You're full of it.
I've read all the emails. They're not that bad.
And we have talked about Bannon and Lutnick. And when I mention traffickers, you defer to politics.
And Bannon's
You're bad faith. You're bad faith. You're unreliable.
Lutnick said he never talked to him, and then that was a lie. He took his family to the island. So I think the people that are lying about the relationship are the ones that are hiding the most. So, I think it's a possibility that you could be friends with Jeffrey Epstein and not be a pedophile. But when you're using coded language and talking about weird things like jerky, you're probably the ones that are doing the weird stuff like
We are going to the uncensored portion of the show right now, so smash the like button, share the show. Stay tuned, because it's going to get rowdier, I suppose, and we'll talk more about the Epstein stuff. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. The show's going to be at rumble.com/Timcast IRL. Don't miss it. Alex, do you want to shout anything out?
After Hours with Alex Stein, Real America's Voice. That's Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern. Tonight, it's on 1 hour.
Good evening, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the fascinating episode of Timcast IRL tonight. I am Elaad, the White House correspondent here at Timcast. Phil?
Whoa.
Ooh. What is that?
The power is going out.
Did we the stream drop?
The Epstein people, the Mossad are after us. We're talking too much about the Epstein stuff.
The monitor flickered for a second.
The lights flickering indicate that wasn't just a single outline. That's like a full. Oh, yeah, the TV shut off.
Whoa. Yeah. That's spooky.
Elaad.
No, we're getting too close to the sun. We're getting too close to the sun, man.
Close to the sun. I am Phil That Remains on Twix. The band is All That Remains. You can check us out at allthatremainsonline.com. We're going on tour this spring with Born of Osiris and Dead Eyes. You can get tickets at allthatremainsonline.com. You can check out the band on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, Spotify, YouTube, and Deezer. Don't forget the left lane is for crime. Carter.
What's up, everyone? Carter Banks. I'm pumped to be here. You can follow me at Carter Banks and follow our record label, Trash House Records, at Trash House Records pretty much everywhere. And I'm excited for this after show.
We'll see you all over at rumble.com/Timcast IRL. Thanks for hanging out.